misconception out they say ganja free. We want to tell the people them in Jamaica say ganja not free in Jamaica. We want to know that. And the Ministry of Justice just sent me something so and I'm going to read it. The Ministry of Justice, Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015 facts. Muta. Alright. So you already saying that now. First of all, them say dangerous drugs. Them say dangerous and them say drugs pantapide and I'm referring to ganja. So you know say something wrong right this already. Something definitely wrong right this already. Them don't change the language as it relates to ganja. Them don't change the language. And if you don't change the language, you know say them have a far way to go. But apart from that, we're going to read the Amendment Act 2015 facts. Since them send we have to read. We don't have to read it, but for the purpose of clarification, we're going to read it. And we start overview. So we start the program quick today. The program started quick, yeah, because nothing's supposed to go up on the program tonight, yeah. Okay. This fact sheet sets out the main changes that have been made to the Dangerous Drugs Act. 2. Recent amendments to the Dangerous Drugs Act made by the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015 will introduce several important changes to the way the Dangerous Drugs Act will operate in relationship to ganja. 3. When the Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015 comes into effect, new provisions will be in place regarding the possession and smoking of ganja, use of ganja by persons of the Rastafari faith, and use of ganja for medical, therapeutic, and scientific purposes. Enough time on the hear this already, but we still have to repeat it because them know have it in a little fact sheet, what them saying. 4. The Dangerous Drugs Amendment Act 2015 came into operation on the 15th day of April, which is a month ago, right now. 2015. 5. Some aspects of the new law will not be operational until regulations which are being developed are put in place. Possession of ganja. Number 6. Possession of 2 ounces or less. Now 2 ounces or more, I want you to listen carefully. Listen carefully. On the cast, on never hear, and you keep hearing it over and over and over. We still have man out there. All the Rasta youth out there are misinterpret with them ear on the radio. Alright, so there's no misinterpretation for Guanas to know after on the hear this tonight. Possession of 2 ounces or less of ganja is no longer an offense for which one can be arrested, charged, and tried in court, and it will not result in a criminal record. If you have 2 ounces of ganja or less, that means everybody have to start walking with a little scale, including the police them. If you have 2 ounces of ganja or less, you will no longer be charged and arrested for it. However, this is the catch. However, the police may issue a ticket to a person in possession of 2 ounces or less of ganja, similar to a traffic ticket, and the person would have 30 days to pay the sum of $500 at any tax office. Listen carefully, you hear this already, and you hear this already 100 times before, you hear it from April, and I hear this. You still have to hear it. However, the police may issue a ticket for a person in possession of 2 ounces or less of ganja, similar to a traffic ticket, and the person would have 30 days to pay the sum of $500 at any tax office. A person, listen to this, Listen to this. Hear the man I think about ganja free a while ago? Alright, listen to this part right now. A person who is found in possession of 2 ounces or less and who is under the age of 18 years or who is 18 years or older and appears to the police to be dependent on ganja. I don't know how a police are going to look at you and think they're dependent. How a police are going to know if you're dependent on ganja or not by looking at you. I don't understand the part there, you know. Our police are going to look at you and know if you're dependent on ganja. Neil, as a little Christian youth about the place, yeah. Our police are going to know. Our police are going to know if you're dependent on ganja by looking for you. Because if you don't smoke ganja, you know, you're going to look a certain way, you know. That it means that look they know means you're dependent on ganja. I don't understand it. Anyway, this is what them say. A person, and I suspect them I'm going to read it over and over, you know. So I guess we might read it before the program done and we have to read it tomorrow again because we are help them. We are help the Ministry of Justice. All right? We are help the Ministry of Justice. Since them saying we are help them. A person who is found in possession of 2 ounces or less and who is under the age of 18 years or who is 18 years or older and appears to the police to be dependent on ganja will also be referred to the National Council on Drug Abuse for counseling in addition to having to pay the same $500 ticket. If he's 18, if he's 18 or older, and the police stop you and look by you and say, you know, I'm dependent on ganja, we're going to make him go pay the $500. All right, here the big part right you know. Here the big part right you know, and I want to listen to this. You hear the man talk about ganja free, and they make a sad mistake, and still say them people don't know what they do. Listen to this. It remains a criminal offense. You that think no more criminal offense now coming at this. But them put one in there, them itch it right in there. Listen to this. It remains a criminal offense to be in possession of over 2 ounces of ganja. And offenders will be arrested, charged, tried in court, and if found guilty, sentenced to be fined or imprisonment or both. The conviction would also be recorded on that person's criminal record. No. Ganja decriminalized? Oh, the hell them make the people them feel say them decriminalize something. Listen to what them say. It remains a criminal offense to be in possession of over 2 ounces of ganja, and offenders can be arrested, charged, tried in court, and, if found guilty, sentenced to a fine or to imprisonment or both. The conviction would also be recorded on that person's criminal record. Trap them and trap the people them. You know why? Because you see this thing here, I'm going to make them get more money now. And now them are going to collect money off of ganja. You know. Apart from them, I'm going to try set up certain therapeutic and medicinal thing. The little man round there, so now we don't have no sense and them don't have no skill. Policeman just grab him and say, you have more than 2 ounces, 18 months you get for that. Me know Rasta man, when they smoke ganja, 2 ounces a joke business. 2 ounces can't hold in a chillum. 2 ounces can't hold, when a man has seen ganja nowadays, you know, him have ounces, pan top of ounces. You hear the man them say? The man them say, if them ever find you, if police ever catch you with more than 2 ounces of ganja, a prison you're gone. I bet you a whole lot of people never know that. Nearly didn't know that. With all the alabaloo going about ganja decriminal, you didn't know it can't go to prison for ganja. Still, 2 ounces and over. And not only that, you know, them going to fine you and imprison you and take your fingerprints And you're going back to square one, where if you go at the embassy, can you that embassy to get a visa? Them say, go down at Duke Street, go get your police record, or go to Central, go get your police record. And if you go down there, and them realize you have police record, them say, I'm sorry, sir, but you have to apply 2 years after from now. At 20 years, me have criminal record for ganja when me never smoke yet. How much time I say that in the past 20 years me on the radio? Me have a criminal record for ganja possession for 20 years. That they for me file. The man them say, if them find you with 2 ounces or less, you will be charged $500 in the court. Not in the court, anyway, tax office there, sorry. You have to go to the tax office in a month and pay it. And if you don't pay it in a month, you are liable to go to court. And you may have to go pay $3,000 that time. And if you still refuse to pay it, you're gone back at square one. You're gone back to square one. And this number 9, I say, it is a criminal offense to have more than 2 ounces of ganja in your possession. So the question is this. The question is this now. If the minister, I have heard the minister say many forums, including the Running African Forum, yeah, and other places where him stand up and talk, I hear him say, you can plant 5 plants of ganja on your premises. In a flower spot, in a rubber tire, you can plant 5 plants of ganja. I still asking the question, suppose the ganja them come to maturity, and you have 1 ganja tree can give you 2-3 pounds of ganja. I kid you not. I'm going a ganja field already with taller than me. Ganja them gone straight up in the ear like Jack and the Beanstalk, I go climb it. May I say, if you have 5 stalk, I remember I said Black you sing a tune a stalk, a sense me in your growing in my backyard. Well, if you have 5 stalk of ganja in your yard and it come to maturity, what the hell you must do with it? What is the purpose of having 5 stalk of ganja in your yard where if you start pick the ganja and put it for dry, your neighbor go say, it's the boy over there, so me not like him, you know, me go inform upon him. Boom, police come in your yard and see you stack up your 5 tree them in your yard and put the ganja for dry. And when them go wait, it weigh 5-10 pounds. 18 months that you get, you know. 18 months you get. You think say them easy. This is the cutting edge on RFM. I'm going to assume that every announcer for every radio station supposed to get one of these for read it to the people them to clarify the situation and the government position on the ganja thing. Alright, so we reach a number 9 where it say it's still a criminal offense for having possession 2 ounces or more ganja. You still can go to prison and get 18 months and you still can be charged for it. So it's not fool, them are fool, you know. Them will tell you which part them there. So if you misinterpret it, are you fool? Don't come talk about the government are fool you. The government is not fooling you. The government is just setting out them things to say the best way them can collect money off of this thing up once and for all and collect more money off of it. So if you go around the corner as well now and a blow smoke in a policeman face and say ganja free, him liable to lock you up. And when him see the split for you now, you have in a yard, him go to say more than 2 ounces that. And you're liable to go to prison for 18 months still. Alright. The rules against possession of ganja summarized at 7, 8, and 9 above do not apply to any of the following. Alright. Possession of ganja for religious purposes as a sacrament in adherence to the Rastafarian faith. Alright. Stick up in here so now. the other day, me read an article with my brethren, Ibo Cooper. Ibo Cooper, I say, him have a problem with that because the Chinese and the Indian, them can ball out. I don't have him phone. I'd really like find out, is when since Rasta attack for China and Indian in Jamaica, them can't talk for themselves. I mean, me understand Ibo Rasta. Ibo Silong then I say, as a Jaria Edman, he must say, the idea of the Rastafari getting preferential treatment about ganja. I don't know no Chinese and no Indian will get beaten and cut off ear and battering and prisoning for ganja in a Jamaica. Granted them say is the Indian them bring the ganja here. And granted them say you have different aspect of Indian culture and Chinese culture where use ganja. But I can't really understand why Rastaman has sit down there. And I'm a brethren too. I'm a brethren, you know. But me have to say it how it go. Me can't understand why Rastaman in a Jamaica sit down and I say, what kind of law is about for Rasta when you have Indian and Chinese there too. So, Ibu must understand, say, make the Indian and Chinese talk for themselves. Anybody will hear me and say this, you can tell Ibu Cooper, say, me say that. Make the Indian and the Chinese them talk for themselves. Them don't need Rastaman to talk for them. Because it's we, Ibu Cooper, we get mal for this, for ganja, we get mal and butter for it. We don't have no Chinaman or Indian going a prison for smoke ganja through religious belief. You understand? So, just make them talk for themselves, Rasta. We don't need to talk for Indian and Chinese in Jamaica. We don't need to do that. All right. Possession of ganja for medical or therapeutic purposes as recommended or prescribed by a registered medical doctor or other health practitioners or class of practitioners approved by the Ministry of Health. This is where the exemption they deal with that, you know. People who are exempt from the rules against possession are exemptions. Okay. Possession of ganja for purposes, you see, all them things are not relate to we, the people, you know. You know, see, we, the people, this not relate to we, the people, you know, but here to go now. Possession of ganja for purposes of scientific research that is conducted by an accredited territory institution or is approved by a scientific research council. Possession of ganja pursuant to a license, authorization, or permit issued under the Dangerous Drug Act. So, all ganja man now line up for your license. All the man them who decides them want to plant ganja now line up for your license. Because if you do have a license and them come at your place and see ganja tree as far as I can see, it's prison you gone. You can't go make no little side deal with no foreigner. I repeat, you cannot make any foreign deal with any foreigner for export ganja without the authorization of the government of Jamaica that you are supposed to have a license. And I don't even know if you can export it neither. You have to go figure it now how you as a little small man are going to make it, make ganja into a ganja, I don't know, want the ganja cake. I mean, I can't make ganja cake, you know. I used to sell ganja cake at South Splash. I don't know if we can set up some ganja cake and export it. That would be a good idea. Ganja cake. And we make the best ganja cake, you know. I hope people don't know that, you know. Jamaican, the little man them, ganja pudding. Trust me. You have people when you have one of them pudding down, them don't sit down and easy like Sunday morning, man. They don't move. You don't move at all. Okay. Alright, so we reach the possession of ganja, we're talking about people who is exempt from these things now. Possession of ganja for religious purposes as a sacrament in adherence to the Rastafarian faith. Possession of ganja for medical or therapeutic purpose as recommended or prescribed by a registered medical doctor or other health practitioners or class of practitioners approved by the Minister of Health. Possession of ganja for purposes of scientific research that is conducted by an accredited territory institution or is approved by the Scientific Research Council. Possession of ganja pursuant to a license, authorization, or permit issued under the Dangerous Drug Act. Okay, so this was sent to the radio station by the Ministry of Justice, NCB South Tower, 2 Oxford Road, Kingston 5. If you want to contact them, telephone number is 906 4923 906 4931. So you can't say you never hear again. It's not the first, not the second, not the third, not the fourth, not the fifth. And you can keep hearing it because I know so them give all the announcers one of these and you're going to hear it read over and over again so as not to confuse your brains. Ganja is illegal in Jamaica. Don't make nobody fool you. Because them going to say ignorance of the law don't justify you for break the law. That is what I'm going to tell you now. Ignorance of the law don't justify you for break the law. So you can't say you never know. If them catch you with 2 ounces and less of ganja in Jamaica, you're going to pay $500 at any tax office. You will not be fingerprinted. And you don't have to bribe no policeman if you have 2 ounces of ganja or less. And you have to go carry a little weight, you have to go carry a little scale, you know. Trust me. Every man better buy a scale, you know. Believe you me. You have some little scale, you know. Yeah, with them use in a pharmacy, in pharmacy. You have some little scale in a pharmacy where maybe you can use them scale they know. Them scale they are going to sell enough now. Enough scale they are going to sell you now. As you see a policeman say, policeman, see me scale ya. 2 ounces or less. $500. That's how you think. Policeman goes so boom and just go in a film pocket and put your own pocket and film one pocket. And say, watch out. At 3 ounces that. 18 months, what a prison sentence that? 18 months, what a prison sentence that? And we hear the minister tell police to be lenient and all them things. The police, lenient in Jamaica, catch you with 3 ounces of ganja, 10 ounces of ganja, or a pound of ganja, lenient. You better leg of film one. Time I say wrong or right, left hand or right hand, what a man. Believe you me, Bridget, you don't really want to go to jail for 18 months, all right? None of them time when they talk about ganja. Make us see the first man we're going to go to prison now for ganja. After now, April, May, we're going to see the first man. You're going to see him big, you know, him picture got big in the newspaper, you know. First man to go into prison now for ganja after the law. All right, so we clarified that. And as we say, we might have to read it again before the program done. And we might have to read it tomorrow again. And again and again and again. That's me bridging them. Don't go on like them an idiot. You understand? Man, I said, me a Musa. Them free ganja now, man. I said, brethren, you hear them say that. They all body not tell you nothing about ganja free. The song when me just a play say it, but it's an illusion. It's an illusion them put in front of the people them to collect more money for this thing here. And them know say the medical part of it is where the big money I got there. the medical part, that's where the big money there, you know. So, them done set up for them big guys in the university and the government to set up a program where them can facilitate the medicinal part of it. And them not have to contact no farmer to do that, you know. Because you see them a plant ganja up a university. And them have them little guys them already where them done set up. To say, all right, when it come on stream, you can supply with the ganja. It have to grow under certain conditions. Rare. Even though them say the ganja where they are orange is the best ganja in the world. But if it not under certain conditions, you know, say, it's a go terrible. And you can't come tell them nothing. You can't go tell them, say, boy, you want to say, Mick Jagger pass, it's a ganja, you know, so it pass. Him say, Mick Jagger old man, you know, so they have to pump out the whole line blood all the time and put it in you blood. Why you not about Mick Jagger? Or it's the food, or any of them man, they will come on the grill, you understand? Them want to control it. Control it. That is why you can still go to prison. Because the big guy now go to prison. You know, see? And you have to go run, go get your license quick. Get your license quick, you know, because we have all our brethren in the studio where come down, you have to see how him can work out certain things. Yeah, we just meet him named Jason from California. We're going to talk to him soon about this whole ganja rising situation, yeah. Where is it? Click it there, sir? Well, click it. All right, we have some little fun in the studio. We guess them at the house. All right, now. The brethren make sure some give me this card. I tell them some seat already. You know, we ones have it. Medical marijuana identification card. This is from the state of Colorado, and it is a patient, and it have an expiration date. It come like a license, and it have a seal on it. All right, the brethren named Jason. Night, sir. Good night.
How are you doing?
Well, me I do good. How you do?
I can't complain. It's great to be in Jamaica.
Oh, is it first you come from Jamaica?
First time, yes.
First time you come from Jamaica?
First time,
Why
yeah.
you travel around the place?
We've been to Ethiopia twice, and now it was just the right time to come to Jamaica.
All right. You're born in California?
Yes.
You're born in California?
Yeah, and that's a California state card there, not Colorado.
Yeah, I see it. State of California. Colorado, me to say?
Colorado, they have a different program. Every state has a different... Oh, no, me just asked
if a Colorado me did say. Or a California.
Yeah.
A Colorado me did say?
Yeah.
All right, sorry about that.
No worries.
All right. So, you have to tell me from the beginning now, how you come to have this card and on another level come to really now producing ganja in a California. Tell the people them from the beginning.
From the beginning, I was born with cerebral palsy, and cerebral palsy is a disease that is in the brain that affects the muscles that you only can be born with at birth. And so I was born with cerebral palsy. When I was first born, the doctor said that I would never live, and if I did live, the whole right side of my body would be paralyzed and that I would never walk. Later in life, I started smoking cannabis, and I wasn't really sure how it was helping me, but I knew that it was helping me.
When's the later in life? Like what time? What time? Like teenager or what time?
Yeah, teenagers. Yeah. Around my teenage years, I started smoking cannabis, and I knew that it was helping me in ways, but I couldn't put a finger on it because there wasn't enough medical information out there about of how it really did work. There was only just the propaganda and the reefer madness type of concept floating around in the media. As when medical marijuana passed in 1996, I knew I was 18 then, and that was the first year I got to vote, and I knew that when I voted for medical marijuana that it was going to be a big thing. I knew it was going to pass. A few years later after that, I opened up a dispensary in San Francisco in 2001. And a few years later, the city of West Hollywood reached out to the Board of Supervisors in San Francisco and asked me to come down to West Hollywood and open up a dispensary there as well.
All right, stick up in now. We're talking about your journey with the ganja and the sickness that you say you have, right? So we want to find out now, at what point you realize that this thing is helping, and then how you move forward now and keep on doing it, that now you can walk. Even though you walk with a limp, but you're walking.
I've always been able to walk, but with using the cannabis, it unloosens my muscles. Also, too, 5 days before my 21st birthday, I was extremely sick. So sick that I couldn't smoke at all because it hurt my throat too much to smoke. I woke up the following day in a hospital bed because I had a grand mal seizure in my sleep that they said that was caused from cerebral palsy. At that point, the doctors put me on some very debilitating pharmaceutical medications. The doctors even came in and told me, the first thing that they told me, I'm tied down to the hospital bed on life support, and the first thing they come in and tell me is that I tested positive for dope in my system and that I would never get my driver's license back until I could produce a clean P test. So in all of your sickness, them still tell you, say, one way the law now go do for you and all of it, instead I try to tell you about the survival of yourself. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so when the doctors told me this, I knew that was never going to happen as far as me being able to produce a clean P test, because I knew, and especially after having a seizure on a day that I didn't smoke, it just automatically clicked in my head that I had a feeling that had something to do with why I had a seizure, because my body, for some reason, the levels dropped in my body. And when I talked to doctors about it, they actually said that when you have cerebral palsy, that a seizure can happen at any time, and it's just like a reaction in the brain that happens, and it just causes a seizure. There's no way to prevent it, and there's no way to notice when it's going to happen. It's just going to happen.
So at what time you realize now is the ganja doing healing, getting the healing part of it? At what time?
That was just all throughout having a dispensary in San Francisco and West Hollywood, especially in the early years from 01 to 05. And just all the patient testimonials of all the people that I was helping out and that would come in for medical reasons. And just their testimonies alone worked with my testimonies, and we were able to talk about different ailments and what works with this and what works with that. And that's when I learned the true value of the medicine, of the medical side of it.
All right, so you did any scientific research to say it's really that was the ganja help it, or just people who you sell the ganja to have the same ailment, is them really come and tell you say it work for them?
Yeah, but more about personal trials with other people that are having the same sort of situations, and just in correspondence with them. Clinical trials and things like that are not allowed in the United States. And on top of it also, a friend of mine is Dr. Donald Abrams, and he is the #1 pathological doctor in San Francisco at UCSF Medical Center. And he's the only doctor to ever have a federal funded marijuana study under the Bush administration in the United States for cancer and AIDS patients, doing a human clinical trial study with medical marijuana grown by the government of the United States at the University of Mississippi.
Right. So, dispensary. All right, you have to explain to Jamaica me what when you say a dispensary, what you're talking about?
A dispensary would be a storefront location that was designated for cannabis sales or transactions.
And you have one like that in California?
Correct.
How long now you're running that dispensary?
Well, I've had dispensaries since 2001. I started in the beginning in San Francisco. I had that location from 01 to 09, and then the city of West Hollywood asked me to come down in 2004, and we've been there ever since. And now our location in West Hollywood is the oldest dispensary south of San Francisco in the state that's still in operation.
All right, so explain how that work now in terms of you selling, you getting the product, you selling the product, and the people them buying it, and how the government get work off of that.
How it basically works now is you get a recommendation from a doctor. It's not a prescription, it's a recommendation. In Proposition 215, it only calls for a written recommendation or an oral recommendation. Now, how you prove an oral recommendation is a whole nother ballgame. So most doctors will give you a piece of paper that's a standardized form that just says your name, that you have a condition that suits the needs for medical cannabis to treat, and a date. And each recommendation is good for 1 year. So you have to continue to see your physician to make sure that your treatments are working properly and that it's actually helping you.
Yes. We're talking to Jason, a brethren from California, who not only is healing himself with marijuana, but is also dispensing marijuana. I'm one of the only dispensary in California. California or in
California.
In California, that actually supply ganja to people. All right, where you get your ganja from? Because I see you show me a picture with the ganja behind the store.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you have to explain that to me, because you have your what them call it, your production line behind the store, and then you reap your production line and carry it from that part to over the wall. How much land you have behind there?
It's not a lot of space. I'd say it's close to about 500 square feet of cultivation space that we have in the back of the dispensary. Now, I helped West Hollywood and San Francisco both create their permitting processes for dispensaries, as far as creating the local jurisdictional oversight. You know, and business is actually obtaining a business license, actual permit to operate. And with West Hollywood, I was able to put into the legislation that the only place that you can commercially cultivate within the city of West Hollywood is inside of a dispensary.
Oh, so you recommend that to the state?
No. That was recommended to the city of West Hollywood.
Okay.
Because the locals in the state of California, the local ordinances have the zoning control of different businesses and different land uses for within the cities and counties. The state has a broader oversight.
All right. Can you sell outside of that boundary? Like, suppose you want to go cross the border into Texas.
No.
You can't.
It's all California based.
Okay.
Everything that we sell has to be produced in California.
Okay. So you can't use ganja from Colorado into Europe.
No.
So how them going to know if you have ganja from Colorado in a store, in a dispensary?
There is no way to tell because cannabis doesn't have a serial number. So
that to say.
I mean, there's not. I haven't seen a lot of people that are bringing
ganja
product from Colorado. There's too much that's produced within the state already alone.
Especially above San Francisco.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. You know, we have the Trinity Triangle, Sonoma County, and there's just so much cultivation going on out there in California.
So me could ask you a question now. The people them who come to you with them medical problems and things, how much them allowed to buy from you?
Now, here we go. Now, this gets into a more interesting kind of question. Now, that card that I gave you, okay, in the very beginning when Prop 215 passed, there was no limits or guidelines or quantities that was put into Prop 215 as to what patients could possess or consume. So that was just left open in the law. I believe in around 2008, we came up with SB 420, and that is what created the state card that you have over there. And now with the state card, in the beginning, when we first formed the state card, in order to get it passed in the state, we had to consolidate a few things that we didn't really want to in order to get it passed. And one of those things was creating a mandatory minimum across the state, which was 8 ounces, and you could cultivate 12 immature plants and 6 mature plants.
Obviously, the government of Jamaica had take a cue from where you just said a while ago.
Well,
even though it's a small amount, them say, because you say 8, them say 1 ounce.
Well, hold on. Let me finish with a story with that. Now, about a year after that all happened, there was a lawsuit in the state of California that went all the way to the Supreme Court of California, where basically what ended up happening is those quantities and guidelines that were in SB 420 got struck out of the bill completely. Only those portions of the bill were eliminated, because what the Supreme Court of California ruled was that basically that legislators could not legislate quantities and guidelines when the voters voted in Prop 215, that voters would have to vote in quantities and guidelines.
And not the state government, not the state. So, so it went to the federal government, or that never reached the federal
just
government?
Just the state.
Just the state.
Just the state. This was the Superior Court of California.
Oh, so the federal government never tripped into that? The federal court never?
No.
Them just allow it for just the state?
I just say the federal government tolerates it.
Yeah. All right. So, your facility is a legal facility.
Yeah, we're actually
500 square foot where you have there is a legal facility.
Not only is it legal, but it's actually written in the zoning law as a controlled land use for commercial cultivation within that space.
Then now, from there, you take it to the shop, to the dispensary.
That's in the shop.
No, but I see you have a wall there.
It's all the same. It's all the same property, though. It's all the same compound. It's all the same compound.
Yeah. All right. So you have workers who is looking about it over there, well set up, because you have whole heap of things like basically how I see them do it in America. You know, you have water spewing crowds or lighting.
Oh yeah.
So we control the temperature and all these things, and then now you take it now and carry it into the store. And you have the different grades. All that work. You have different grades. Yeah. And just one grade you have.
Oh no. We carry close to 60 different varieties, all ranging.
Wait. You have 60 different varieties of ganja in your store.
Over 60.
But the one where you show me that, it don't even look like ganja to me. Believe you me.
That's one of the prized possessions in there.
Why you say you just look for the one that heal you know, but that's smoke it.
Oh, I mean, it is that pretty. It is that pretty.
No, it look different. It look different. And I'll be like, I have never seen one looking like that. You know. So
well, that's indoor, and most of all the medical marijuana that I've seen out here is all outdoor.
Yes,
and so they don't have the big production facilities out here or the infrastructure out here to be cultivating indoors.
Yeah. All right. So people come and they buy it from you, and in a day, yes, you open every day, I assume.
Yeah.
On Sundays too.
365. We're even open on Christmas.
All right. Well, I can't say that he's a Jew. We don't visit the Christmas. All right. So we can ask you now. We really and truly know. I don't want to get into your private business. But I like knowing, for the purpose of the conversation and for the purpose of people who are listening out there, we have intentions. Like, government man, you have up a government say, turn on your radio, you don't talk about ganja for instance, and I'm have a foreigner up on the radio. In a 1 year, in an estimated value of ganja where you pass through your store to the consumer, in a 1 year, how much, give me just a rough, like the turnover in a year, just your dispensary.
That's a rough number to kind of gauge. What I can tell you is that we see close from anywhere from 100 to 200 patients who are qualified by the state of California to use medical cannabis a day.
200, and them use it every day.
We see 200 people a day. That's not all the same people every day.
That's funny. All right. So you have 200 today and the next 100 tomorrow, not the same that come yesterday, right?
There might be 10 to 20 that are the same, but, you know.
So people come from all across the border just to come at your store?
No. They can't come across the border. They all have to be California residents.
Oh, they have to have the card. They have to have this card.
Or a recommendation.
From
their doctor.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So we'll go back to it now. Like, a rough estimate. I mean, if you don't want to say it, not say it silly now, but just... you pay taxes.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about if you say yourself. I mean,
I just want to give you a correct answer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. All right. Let me get time for think on it. You want time for think on it?
What's that?
You want some time for think on it?
Yeah. Let me do some calculations.
All right. So this is the cutting edge. Because I was stepping the side of a cutting edge. Cutting edge with the pan. All right. Make a play this. The plan cassava is that them going to use cassava in the beer them. Yes. So they were, at the time when them talking about planting the cassava, it was about facilitating the transition from, I think, barley to cassava in the beer them. So they wanted these acres of land, and was really suggesting to the people them plant more cassava because there's a market now for cassava. But guess what now? The ganja come wipe out the cassava. I think they totally know. Nobody now want to plant cassava again. They want a license. They want a license to plant ganja. You know, and after you don't hear that brother you're talking, I know you're going to want a license.
You know it.
All right. So, yeah, so depend the estimate of, like, turnover.
I'd say in
fair year.
I'd say the average patient when they purchases an eighth, and so if you use that as an average, you know, we get approximately 125 eighths out of 1 pound, and so I think it's realistically feasible to say that we could go through 1 pound to 2 pounds in 1 day. And that's only flowers. That's not edibles. That's not concentrates.
So you use
that's not
tinctures.
That's not tinctures. That's not pills. That's not topicals. That's only flowers.
So like a pound is like, what you estimate a pound costs?
That depends on who's buying it.
All right. If Abba did I buy it? Abba. Because the man, they have money. So if Abba did I buy it now, how much should I charge you?
Well, you can't just say, like, how much does a pound of cannabis cost just because there's so many different varieties and grades in the quality.
The lowest grade me I talk about, man. The lowest grade where you have.
The lowest grade.
I can't see, you know why I mention the money. You know why I mention the money, don't you? You know why I mention the money.
My lowest grade would probably be close to around $500 a pound.
Yeah, $500, say 2 pound, $1,000 a day.
And up to $3,000 to $3,200 a pound.
And that is the one we sell most.
And that's the cost, yeah. That's the wholesale cost.
Yeah, the wholesale.
Wholesale cost, yeah.
All right, so we could say $2,000 a pound. $2,000.
That's some average.
2 pound a day, $4,000, 4 7 is 28. 28 times 56. You're gone far. Trust me. So when the government hear that, you know, it's going to make them more want to deal with it now, you know, because you, as a single man, we hear what you say, based upon how where your experience is, that this is what you do per day.
Yes, this is what I've done for a number of years.
How much years now you're into the business, say?
Well, 2001, and what are we in now? 2015, so 14 years.
Yeah, 14 years.
And then you got to realize too is that from 2004 to 2009, those 5 years, I was operating 2 stores simultaneously within the state. That's approximately 400 miles from each other.
You're serious?
Yeah.
So you're a big man in this thing in California. You're a big man. All right. The big question now. What is your purpose to come to Jamaica?
One of the main things that I want to do out here is try to help the people, and I want to set up a good system and help the government to create a good system that works for the people here in Jamaica, as well as for the people that are putting energy into the project, into the infrastructure, into making this all work for the people here in Jamaica. I want to try to work with people to work with the local farmers here in collaboration with them, as well as, you know, we're in West Hollywood. When I first came to West Hollywood in San Francisco, the first things when I met with city officials and things like that is we want to provide community services, and we want to help the community that we're coming into. We're not just here just to do this and do that, but we want to be a part of the community and embrace the community, and that to me is what a lot of it is about.
So your advice in terms of setting up what your discipline of maintaining a store, maintaining the dispensary and thing, you're trying now to bring that experience to Jamaica.
I would love to do that.
Based upon what you say happening, the future of this thing is happening.
Yeah, I'd like to help them with their framework as far as creating the drafting of the legislation for how the system would work here.
I don't know if you was listening to me reading this thing.
I was listening to a little bit of it.
All right. I don't want to read about the whole lot, but You know, in Jamaica, they said they decriminalized it. I think it's in April.
Well, let's just. So, right now you can have 2 ounces.
No,
which is legal.
No,
correct?
no, it's not legal.
Okay.
If you have 2 ounces or less and you're caught with it, you will be given a ticket. Like, you know, if you drive fast, then get a ticket, and you will be asked to pay $500 at any tax office. Now, if you are caught with more than 2 ounces of ganja, it go back to the same thing, that you will be arrested for possession of ganja, taken to a court, found guilty. If you find you guilty, you're liable to go to prison. And you are now a criminal because you have the ganja. You have more than 2 ounces of ganja. You're liable to go to prison, and it's 18 months. That was a mandatory sentence for ganja in Jamaica.
How much time do you do of those 18 months? Do you do the full 18 months? Because in the American system, you do on an average of 80% of whatever that sentence is.
Well, I want to tell you, say, you're liable for 20 years. That's why you beat at Jamaica. This is the cutting edge at RFM. California, who run the only dispensary for medical marijuana in California, right? California. The only man in California were doing this.
No. There's a lot of dispensaries.
Oh, there's a lot of, yeah. Like almost dispensaries, so.
I mean, when I first started, there was probably about 20 of us in the state.
Okay, now it's how much?
Now there's probably close to maybe like 500 to 1,000.
Like McDonald's.
But that's only because Los Angeles City and County has not finished their regulating. Okay. And so there's a lot of rogue shops that are open currently.
Okay, underground shop.
Yeah. And so once those are all closed down within the next year or two, it'll be a much, there should probably be about 100 stores in the whole Los Angeles area.
Okay, all right. So we're going to continue this thing where the Ministry of Justice saying, smoking of ganja in a public place or within 5 meters of a public place is prohibited in a manner similar to cigarettes. Okay. A person who smokes in public cannot be arrested or detained. However, listen to a person who smokes in public cannot be arrested or detained. However, the police may issue a ticket to that person, who will have 30 days to pay $500 at a tax office. For the purposes of these smoking rules, a public place include a workplace and any place for the use of or accessible to the public, such as sidewalks. I want the rest of them hear this, because you have some rasta man I go like him, an idiot, I smoke, blow smoke in a man's face and I talk about ganja free. Like one man come up to me car the other day and I bought about ganja free and him have the split in his hand. Smoking of ganja. Alright. For the purpose of these smoking rules, a public place includes a workplace and any place for the use of or accessible to the public, such as sidewalks, bus stops, restaurants, offices, educational institutions, pharmacies, hospitals, areas used by children, supermarkets, and parks. So, in other words, the only place you can go smoke is in line of your house. Smoking of ganja at privately occupied residents that are not used for commercial purposes is not an offense. Okay, that is what I just said. You can't smoke in your house. But is governed by the rules and possession of ganja referred to above. In other words, you can smoke it in your house, but still, the over 2 ounce thing, under 2 ounce, it's still there. Even if you have smoked in your yard, and policeman come in there and catch you with it, he can arrest you. Furthermore, smoking of ganja will be legally permitted in places that are licensed for the smoking of ganja for medical. Hey, them people are not easy, Rasta. Them people are not easy, Them sit down and think out this thing here, Rasta. Them not think it out, them think it out. Furthermore, smoking of ganja will be legally permitted in places that are licensed for the smoking of ganja for medical or therapeutic purposes. adhering to the Rastafari faith will also be permitted to smoke ganja for sacramental purposes in location registered as places of Rastafarian worship. In other words, and no being you go cock. And no you go to man a bingy. Oh gosh man, red gold and green tampan body like worries. Alright. It is an offense to fail to pay a ticket. See the next part I can know, you know. Listen to this, you know. Uno can't, so you never hear, you know. Uno can't, so you never hear. It is an offense to fail to pay a ticket that has been issued for smoking ganja in public or for possession of 2 ounces or less of ganja. The offender will be required to attend the petty session course and may be ordered to do community service, or in the rare case where community service cannot be arranged, pay a fine of $2,000. A conviction for failing to pay a ticket will also be recorded on the offender's criminal record. If you don't pay the ticket, you're going right back to the original thing. You're going to become a criminal. Importation of ganja for terminal or serious chronic illnesses. A person who is suffering from cancer or any other terminal or serious chronic illness may import medicine or a therapeutic product derived from or containing ganja. In order to do so, a registered medical practitioner must certify that the person is suffering from the illness and must recommend the person use of the medicine or therapeutic product. The importation of the medicine or therapeutic product must comply with regulations which are to be made. I don't know why they would have want to import that when Jamaican upper university are going to make it. In furtherance of scientific research, an accredited territory, what do you pronounce that word again? Come, what do you pronounce it? Tertiary. Tertiary. Oh, you see it? Hey, all my wives, so don't they listen to, you know, I beg, she begs, you know, I call it wrong. About 50 times I call it, she must have done that, tear up all of my clothes, but yeah, no, you can't, Tertiary. Whoa. When I say God, mother, I say God give me grace to persevere. When we reach another yard there, trust me. All right. When we reach it, approved by the SRC, may apply for authorization to import ganja. Why them would have want import? You see, at that part, them can't take no, you know. You're going to get license for import ganja. We should have concentrate on the ganja with there, so why we are going to talk about import ganja here so now? You going to give man license for import ganja, I mean, they say that years ago, you know, I say, so Jamaica start import ganja, you know. Alright, the authorization to import ganja, including any part of the plant from any jurisdiction where the export of it to Jamaica is lawful. The importation of ganja for research purposes must comply with regulations which are to be made. An authorization to import ganja for research purposes also protects any third party who is engaged by the scientific institution or body for these purposes. Cultivation of ganja by householders. Each householder is allowed to legally grow no more than 5 ganja plants on his premises. If there's more than one household on any premises, each household may grow 5 ganja plants. An accredited institution or other body approved by the SRC may apply for the authorization to cultivate ganja in furtherance of scientific research or lands approved for that cultivation. An authorization to cultivate ganja for research purposes also protects any third party who is engaged by the scientific institution or body for this purpose. Ganja which is cultivated, processed, used, and otherwise handled in accordance with the type of authorization is not subject to the rules against ganja under the Dangerous Drug Act. Cultivation for Rastafari sacramental purposes. Person 18 years or older who are adherents to the Rastafari faith or Rastafari organization may apply for authorization to cultivate ganja for the religious purposes as a sacrament in adherence to the Rastafari faith. Ganja that is cultivated under such authorization may not be smoked in public places other than at a location registered as places of Rastafari worship, or sold or otherwise dealt with commercially or exported from Jamaica, but is otherwise not subject to the rules against ganja under the Dangerous Drug Act. And then them say events to celebrate, observe the Rastafari faith. Persons who are adherents to the Rastafari faith or Rastafari organization may apply for an event promotion or sponsored by them to be declared an exempt event. In order to apply, the event must be primarily for the purpose of the celebration or observation of the Rastafari faith. So I don't know, Tony Rebel are going to work that out, you know. Tony Rebel are going to work out something else, you know, because it is not a celebration for Rastafari, but then again, it's a celebration for Rastafari because the music in itself and most of the performers them give credence to the Rastafari faith. So all of that them have to go work out again.
Well, wouldn't it be a celebration just in the fact that it's able to happen under the Rastafari guidelines as a liberation?
Yeah, well that them I say, but you see, you have certain, like reggae concert now. Mm-hmm. Most of the concert them where, like as me just mentioned, Rebel Salute is a Rasta man a keep it, but it's not a Rasta celebration. But then you could have argued say it's a Rasta celebration because it's a celebrate the music that is portrayed by the Rastafari community. So I don't know how them are going to logistically work out that. I guess them will work it out still. Where an event is declared exempt, person who attend the event will not be liable to be arrested, detained or prosecuted for smoking ganja or possession of ganja at the event, or transporting ganja to the event, as long as they have complied with the amounts and conditions specified in the order declaring it an exempt event. But wait now, before I go to the break now, I want to ask one question about this thing, you know. Suppose you go into a Rasta event to supply the event with the ganja that the people them going to use there, and you get stopped on the road with the ganja, and if you have your license, say this is that. They must say, I can't me see them must say, so now you're still liable because you have more than the amount where you travel with. You have more than the amount where them allow you to travel with, even though you argue say, but the cocos bag of ganja to supply Rebel Salute, or the cocos bag of ganja to provide the yes, yeah.
Well, one thing that I noticed in the reading is it says that you're liable for the fine. It does not say in there that they're liable to seize it from you.
But you know, they will take it from you.
I'm just saying that in the law,
yeah,
in the law, it does not say that they can seize it from you. It says that you're subject to a fine.
Fine, yeah. But when I say no, even though the minister has said the police must use him discretion, the police not gonna make you move out for the ganja. The police not gonna make you move out for the ganja. They're gonna take away the ganja from you. Them not gonna them do it.
And then you could have a civil lawsuit.
In America, trust me. In America. Right, that's
what
Father
happened.
Richard Olam and friends, Winton Williams, everybody together, and it is all to serve the poorest of our people in the best of our production, King David. Telephone 948-0280 or 948-6173, beginning Saturday, May the 9th at the National Arena, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. If you miss it, I tell you something, you're going to cry.
You say you want to give a helping hand, but can you show me some action? 0, free, nothing at all, for real. No, you pay nothing at all for Digi calls. That's right. All Digicel to Digicel calls for a surprising $0 when you buy the new 350 megabyte 3-day data plan for $350. To activate, dial *147 Calls for nothing at all from Jamaica's biggest family network. Now that's a nice surprise. Conditions apply. Be extraordinary. Digicel.
Government telephone call tax of 40 cents plus GCT per minute applies.
The National Arena comes alive with the exciting Health, Home and Garden Expo. Friday, May 29 to Sunday, May 31, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily. Attend workshops, do health checks, children and artist villages, shopping, get prizes off a bedroom, garden and paint makeovers. Adults 500, children 250. Sponsored by Boss Rich, Love 101, TVJ, IRFM, Loop, HHG Magazine.
Different Strokes is back. Saturday, May 16 at Cayenne Beach Negril. Come and get the best music of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Powered by Charlie's JB Rum. Previously bought tickets are still valid. Must be 18 and older to drink. ID required. Drink responsibly.
Peace. Attack. Lime National Street Futsal Round of 16. Sunday, May 17, 2015 at Jamalco Sports Complex, Hills, Hall, Clarendon. Them fin was say I saw the same thing go. Sometimes I wonder if, hey, Lime National, what if when me say step out, me did a step back? Performance by Romeo and Virgo, busy signal, start time 8 p.m. to 12 a.m. Them fin know. Representing Lime National Street Futsal Round of 16. Admission is free!
This is Guinness Street Football Challenge, powered by Digicel. See the press or visit the Guinness Caribbean Facebook page for more details. Must be 18 years or older to play. Enjoy Guinness responsibly. Sponsored by Gatorade, Happy Ice, Digicel, Locker Room. Endorsed by the JFF.
Thursday afternoon from 12:15 to 1:15 on Easy Skanking. We heights up heart, mind, and soul to soul.
10 testosterone element. Show the wicked nation. Live world.
May 10! Zip 103 FM West Factor. Sunday, May 24, 2015. Woodley Complex is the place to be. Clarendon! Ladies, 3 for 1 before 3 p.m. Gates open at 2 p.m. Performing live. Ding Dong Ravers! I did own ya! Special attraction. 4-bit water slide. Come and meet your favorite zip jock. Look here. This event is not a soccer team. It's a water.
Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets, and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers, and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Huh? 12 o'clock, eh? All right. We'll figure out something else. Figure out. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, so you say now you're moving Jamaica. We're talking about your move in Jamaica. So far, tell me the headways where you make already. Since you how long are you there, sir? How long are you there?
We've been here for about a week now.
Eh?
And we've had We've had a lot of great meetings with a lot of great people. Mm-hmm. One thing I do kind of want to touch back on is kind of one of the things that you were mentioning in the law earlier, and I'm really thankful that the Jamaican government put in the exemption for Rastafari, because the Rastafari have been persecuted more than any other group around marijuana, Sacramento marijuana.
Anywhere in the world.
All over the world. Yeah. Just like how medical patients such as myself were persecuted for years in the United States. Mm-hmm. In the same way. We've always been the minority around this, but I really hope that Rasta can really protect and harness and hold on and protect the energy of Sacramento, cannabis or medical cannabis, whatever they choose to call it out here in that form, just how the gays did with San Francisco, and that's how medical marijuana even started in the first place. If it wasn't for all of the gays dying in the 80s and 90s from HIV and AIDS.
So it was American marijuana that helped them, helped the gay people. Them.
Correct. For anyone dying of AIDS and cancer at that time, medical marijuana was the only thing that they could use to eat, and because back then with all the different drugs that they had on all the different cocktails, none of them can eat. They would just deteriorate, and medical cannabis was the only thing that offered anything type of relief.
That serious thing, and you have so much sick people in Jamaica, you know, they need to step up. That's why I say, you know, the importation of things kind of worry me when I hear them talk about importation, because I know how it's still when we start do certain things, you go and hear say the one where we have here, so it's not in, you know, it's not standardized enough, and so now them going to go import the foreign one them, so you can make some money off of Jamaica too.
Well, even you have to realize too is that with importation, the opposite of importation would be exportation.
Yeah, but them not allow you to export it if you know sign on to a certain country.
The bottom line is that it's not there yet, but with Jamaica is the first country and first jurisdictional body to even acknowledge the term export or import. And just for that is truly amazing. Just for them to be able to say that a patient like myself can fly in with my medical cannabis from my home area because I'm a patient and I can fly here with it, and I can still use my same meds that I would still use at home when I'm here. That to me is a miracle and a blessing, and that has never been done before in any jurisdictional body.
When I look on the importation of it, I don't deal with that on that scale, and I deal with pan medically in order to supply the market here. We might have to go contact you to get some of your and buy all £100 from you for bring it come to Jamaica to supply the market here. That's the problem I have with it now. When you can't get £1,000 hide from down Orange Hill, you know, one of us start telling say the one on Orange Hill not suitable enough for the medical association to do them experiments. So they're going to bring some from foreign to come deal with it.
I understand that from some angles, and some angles yes and no, but at the same time, I sell over 60 different qualities of cannabis. I sell stuff like what you would find here on the island, as well as I sell the more higher grade stuff, like what I consume for myself. And different people have different ailments as well as different tolerances, and their metabolism uses it differently. And so you have to have all of these different grades for all these different types of people. And, you know, not everyone is going to want the Jamaican flowers, but not everyone is going to want the stuff that's imported either.
Yeah, well, what I think your job should be now is to show how we get the different types in a Jamaica planted.
Oh, I would love to help out with that.
I'd love you to do that.
I would love to do that.
As an experienced grower, I think that is, I mean, I know they have some like organization. I mean, maybe down Westmoreland with IRV and Cuba organization. Maybe that is the road now where you could have take in terms of how do we plant how much grade you say I have 60, how much?
Over 60.
Over 60 grade of ganja to make it viable in terms of the medical way to do it. You know, I think that would be a good way for figure. You know, I mean, just you have to think about that. You have to definitely think about that.
I definitely have, and that's one of the things is we want to do creative partnerships with local people who are already farming and already doing this, and help protect them. Help protect them and help stimulate their economy, but also at the same time too help them with the farming at the same time and teach them different techniques that can make their product better.
So when I hear you say that, no, it means that you're going to come here, come spend some time.
Yeah. I mean, I was here for 6 days, and I'm going to be here for probably another 6. I was supposed to leave today, but I'm still here to come talk to you tonight.
Definitely. Yes. Yeah. God, this is very important.
That's one of the reasons I changed my flight is I have to come and see you and come and talk to the people of Jamaica because they've been so hospitable to me at my time here.
So when you're planning to come forward?
That's a decision only the government can decide.
You mean Jamaica government?
Correct.
Okay.
But I'm here and I'm available.
Of course, definitely. We're going to make sure you are used, well used.
Yes, please use me.
We are going to use you. Yes. Have a zero. We're going to use him, you know. If just say that smile, but if don't know where we say use, you know. Okay. So, you're there at the right hands. And I say, you was in Negril today, you meet IRV and thing.
Yeah, last night.
You meet IRV, I sit down with him and read with him and...
Yeah, I actually met IRV for the first time in Colorado on 420.
Oh, with the High Times people there.
With the High Times people where he announced that the High Times Cannabis Cup will be held here...
In November here
in Jamaica.
Man, a big thing
That's going to be humongous, and I'm really looking forward to that.
That is going to be a big thing.
It's going to be one of the biggest economic booms for Jamaica.
You know, because all the ganja people from all over the world will come.
All over the world.
Yeah, all over the world.
Not just America.
No, I know all over the world.
Europe,
man.
from Spain, China, Japan, everywhere.
Yeah, that's going to be something else.
If there's people in the world, they're congregating here for that event.
Yes, and this is November. We want the people to know that. Look out for that. November going to be a congregation.
Yeah.
It's an evangelistic ganja session. Trust me. I mean, really and truly, that is going to be humongous.
It's going to be a true Rastafarian experience.
Yes. So you will be here for that too. You have
I definitely will be here for that.
Set up and everything, and I hope the government don't do nothing to upset this thing either. The applicant tell look.
I'm hoping you're going to broadcast live from it.
You mean?
Yeah. I'm hoping you're going to broadcast live from the Cannabis Cup.
That's not impossible. Because we broadcast live from simpler things, much less that, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe the people them never know about it, but we want to tell the people them know November is a big thing that go on where in association with the Ganja Farmers Association in a Negril and High Times.
Yep.
High Times is one of the magazine where over years and years they have been pushing the ganja thing. You know, I do a show for them already.
Over 40 years they've been in operation.
Yeah, I do a show for them already, you know. Yeah, I perform for them in a New York already when them there do some ganja thing and them say, boy Musa, you don't smoke ganja anymore, we see you as a key man in this thing. So why you come to the concert and we went and do it, you know. So
nice.
This High Times magazine is well known all over the world, in every corner of the world. This High Times magazine is well known, so they will be here in November to do this massive. When you talk about Ganja Festival, this is the penumple.
There is no other Ganja festival bigger than this.
This is the Ganja Festival. I know the word we are looking for. The mother of all Ganja Festival.
This is definitely going to be the mother here.
The mother of all Ganja Festival.
The mother load.
Yes. All right. So we give thanks. brethren. As we say, we're going to keep the link.
Please, like I said, use me.
Get away, you know.
Use me. I'm here.
You're not getting away, you know.
Anytime.
I will come to California. You first will come to, you know. Come on, see how your store set up.
You have to. You have to
see how you plan the ganja. I mean, I know you do it because I see, you know, regularly I see them things.
Well, also too, what most people don't realize, and let me just say this before I head out of here. What's more important than actually even growing of the ganja is the drying and curing process of the cannabis. 80 to 90% of your quality nugs is going to come out in your drying and curing process as opposed to your cultivation process. So,
yeah, man, give thanks.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we want to come out here and teach the people.
Okay, so that is it, Jason. We don't do the program, you know. We have a I'm going to call her a young lady. We have a young lady inside of the studio where I don't know if the listeners them remember we was talking to a lady from Connecticut one night, and we tell her, say, anytime she come to Jamaica, we're going to bring her in at the studio. Well, she is here in the studio with us, and she's here with the big ganja man so at the studio. Well, she is here in the studio with us, and she's here with the big ganja man so if you look at him, you know, you know it's a ganja man too, you know. It's not the typical looking ganja. It's not the typical looking ganja man, you know. If If you see my walk on the road, you don't say, hey, how would a man there? It look like a normal little tourist who come for just get some tan. You know what I mean? But trust me, a big thing. Big thing. And we're glad to meet him and we're glad to know him still. Okay, so we want to tell you about the next subject we are talking about now. And believe you me, this is very unusual. And I say it's unusual for the cutting edge too. It's unusual for the cutting edge because we have this lady who we was talking to is a white woman. She's a white woman who, from I know her until now, hearing her speak, our main topic is always about white supremacy and the effect it have on people, even white people too. So we want to have a discussion with her about it. This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. Yes, this is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. We go through the paces, you know, try to bring some light in the darkness. Yeah, so believe you me, things stay away. So we are telling you, say, we have a young lady, I'm going to call her a young lady. We're going to take the liberty and say young lady. We have a young lady in the studio where we know from, we know her from California, really. We call her Swan. She is a psychotherapist. And as I said before, sometimes you hear some things that come out of some people's mouths and you say, how them get this all? How them reach this all? You know? She is, I will go and stress it again, she's a white woman who I have never heard her, every time it's down for reason, she first bring up white supremacy. And believe you me, she's not taking up for white supremacy. She's a Jew, she's not taking up for Jews. It's ironical, I don't know who she is. So, if it was in the earlier days, I might have said, Musa, you bring them CIA people for the radio, FBI people there. But really and truly, we know different now. We know, say, you have people who come to a certain understanding about themselves where, like the lady where we did interview, where we make the documentary on our family. And she said that our family had the most slaves in America from up at Rhode Island. There were people don't even know, so Rhode Island was one of the slave places them where, and even these slavery helped to build whole heap of the university them and colleges in America. And she made a documentary about it. She actually made a documentary about our family and how our family sustained, how the family was sustained through slave trade. Well, good night.
Good evening.
All right, good evening. Okay, you say good evening, I say good night. You know the weirdest thing about Jamaican, when them come somewhere, them say good night. When everybody else are going, them say good night. Yeah, it's a weird
and
thing.
sometimes you say good morning.
Yeah, it's like you're in a house, and it happened to me all the while. You're in a hotel room, and somebody knock, and you say, come in. Them think you say, come in, and then push the door. And I don't really come in, you tell them, say, you come in. But come in sound like come in to them, especially when you're there far in a hotel room. So when them knock, and you say, come in, you see the door open. And you know, you say, hold on, whenever I say, come in, I say, come in, which is still come in. You understand? So it's a kind of language barrier when it comes on to these things.
Well, in a few moments, I'm going to say good morning.
Yeah, well, after 12, I'm usually say good morning. All right. When you say psychotherapist, what you do? You figure out me, like, you figure me out?
Well, psychology is a creation. You know, the psychotherapy industry is a creation of a European system. Mm-hmm. And primarily, the system is designed to keep people in line with a white system.
All right, so when you do psychotherapy, it's to keep people in line with white thinking.
Yes, anyone who strays outside of the bounds of the norm defined by a white supremacist system is diagnosed and often medicated.
All right, now what may I say? You as a psychotherapist, you work in the confines of that white supremacist thinking to diagnose people.
Well, I work within a white supremacist culture in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm a rebel within that, as are many. So my job as a psychotherapist, there's beautiful healing work that happens within this field. So while I'm saying it's a white supremacist system, I'll break that down. Within that field, when you got a good therapist, there can be great potential for human growth, psychological development, emotional healing, but the system is formed within a white supremacist system. And what that means is that when you have a culture that is based on white supremacy, based on the idea that there is one right way to be, to think, to act, to look, to talk, one standard of what is professional, what is normal, what is beautiful, we have a problem. So as therapists, even though most of us come into the field, or maybe even all therapists come in with good intentions, let's give the benefit of the doubt, we end up pushing people into norms that are unhealthy. So we end up having to help people adjust to an unjust system.
Yes. So how you as a conscious person relieve yourself from that white supremacist thinking and do psychotherapy and make it be of substance?
Well, I had to seek outside of my formal training because within the field of Western psychology, you're not going to learn about white cultural conditioning. You're not going to learn about white supremacy. In fact, the normal thinking in the United States for white people, we believe that there are racists and non-racists. So there's the bad people and there's the good people. Okay? But the reality is that everyone within the system is conditioned to view some people within the society as criminal, some people within the society as ignorant, some people within the society as less as dangerous. It's a constant programming that happens from the time we're born. It happens through media. It happens through cartoons. It happens through textbooks. It happens through fairy tales. It happens through magazine covers. It's repeated constantly. Who we see on the news as professional, as politician, as powerful, and who we see on the news as criminal. It's a constant programming. So within that, as I was studying psychology and learning to understand the other forms of conditioning that we talk about.
Yeah, we want to just ease up a little bit. You know, say, we take a break so because it's 12 o'clock and it's good morning.
Good morning.
After we done play this anthem, it's good morning. This is the Cutting Edge RFM 12 o'clock.
Brothers and sisters, this is Chalice. Join us with respect for our national anthem. Let us stand and defend this one. Peace and love. Thank you. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guide us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Do our life through countless hours. To our leaders, great defenders, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth, be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love.
This is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We're talking to Swan Keys. A Keys we say, I always chat him about Keys. It now work out. A Keys we are working with right now. Okay. So he was explaining working outside of the white supremacist psychological or psychotherapist ideas and understanding of how you must treat the patient.
Okay, actually what I was talking about right now is this idea that we have, that we work with in the United States right now. Police violence on the news every night, killing, usually it's killing of unarmed black men. That's the key subject, right, with the Black Lives Matter movement. And it gets treated as if there's a few bad police, a few bad apples. So they're constantly focusing on, well, we got to get rid of those few bad apples, that one chief, and everything's going to be okay. It's not a few bad apples. It's a bad system. When you're working within a racist system that conditions the mind of the people to see some people as dangerous, that conditioning is always going to be there. Whether you're a police officer, whether you're the teacher looking at who in the class is bad. So we're dealing with a system that has to be looked at. It's not these bad people and these good people. It's a whole system that is designed to hold in place a class structure. The police force exists to protect private property. That's what it was made for. The government of the United States was formed by white landholding men. Those were the only people who were allowed to participate. So the government's job was to protect the interests of those people. Right? You couldn't vote, you couldn't run for office if you were not a white landholding man. So we have to remember the police are a buffer class to protect this wealth system, this economic system. This is what racism was created for, to maintain this system of privilege for a few.
All right, so all the shift came by them electing a black man. Them put a black man there to maintain that white supremacy.
I'll tell you that was a tough one, because I was watching all around me people getting very excited that a black man could even have the chance to run and maybe even have a shot at winning. And the whole time I'm sitting there going, wow, this is a setup. The system is the same system, no matter what face you put on it. So it's a trick. It's a trick. And I was looking, going, wow, they're going to say racism is done. Right? Now they're going to say, look, there's a black president.
The revolution gone, we'll win the revolution, a black man at the White House.
Yeah, and we know it's a farce. We know it's a farce because we know it's the same economic interest in power. This is just a face, a new face on it, that would allow the left to go along with the war program. So you get people real excited, real distracted, feeling like there's some progress being made where the same agenda is on track. The same corporations are benefiting with the same multinational agenda.
All right. We have a group in America, them called the Klan. And the Klan seem to be maintaining white supremacy outward. Like everybody knows that this group is white supremacists. Them not like Jews, them not like gays, them not like blacks and thing. All that match up with the wider society that is thinking like
it's a distraction.
Which one of them is
a distraction? When we look at the Klan today, that's not the Klan is not the problem today. The Klan is some fringe element of people who the masses of society can point to. Even the pro-racist people in society can point to them and say they're the bad guys, right? It's a distraction. The system is broken and the system needs to be fixed. The Klan are just the extremists on one end who are honest enough to know what's happening inside themselves and vocalize it.
All right. So as a white person, how you maintain your composure but still relate where you just say no to some white people? Or them view you now? Well, in your psychotherapy.
First of all, we start with those people. We have a program called Untraining White Liberal Racism. So you can hear in the name who we're speaking to. These are liberal people, maybe anti-racist activists. It's usually teachers, psychotherapists, social workers, parents of mixed-race children, people who have a reason to feel like they want to be anti-racist, that they want to do anti-racist work. And there's a growing movement in the United States around whiteness studies, white privilege conferences, all this. So we work first with the people who say, I want to be part of the change. And it's a deep deconditioning of the mind, and it's never finished. So we study continually. So it's studied by reading, it's studied by watching documentaries, it's studied by exercises, deep psychological and emotional exercises to get to the root of that conditioning and to peel off the layers of that conditioning and to understand what that conditioning is for. So that's a program I've been with, I guess, about 15 years now. Started in California. It's a Buddhist-based program, which means that you use some aspects of Buddhist philosophy and practice, such as mindfulness, paying attention.
All right, explain that to the listener. What is Buddhist philosophy?
Okay, so let me get to Buddhist practice first. So Buddhist practice generally involves a meditation practice. Buddhist, yes.
All right, Buddhist. Okay. All right, you have to explain it.
Okay, because I've been practicing meditation since I was 16 and it assists.
That's why I tell Brutus. I never hear about this philosophy.
No, I don't know Brutus. No.
Oh, Buddhist philosophy. Okay,
yes.
Okay, all right.
So we use the meditative aspects of Buddhist practice to help focus the mind and pay attention to what's going on inside. So the idea is, rather than saying, is there racism going on or is there not racism going on in any particular situation, we condition ourselves to say, where is the racism showing up in this moment? So it gets you out of the defensiveness and into a space of recognizing there is always that conditioning operating. So once you do that, then it's just a careful study of that conditioning. So it's constantly looking at, where is this coming up? How is this coming up? And working with the psychological issues. Every person has their own way that they kind of respond when they're in stress or they're most emotionally challenged. That's when the isms often take root and come out in people who don't want to be, the white liberals. Where my racism is going to show up is when I'm really triggered. So we work with understanding how our emotional triggers work and then recognizing when the isms start coming out.
What is at what point you as a person get triggered, and what is the trigger that trigger you, your racism?
Well, it's not
inside.
Well, any kind of emotional stress will trigger a person where the isms can come through. So where I have to be careful as a white person, where I can see my own conditioning come through, is this take charge. That's one of the ways. I'll get in a group and immediately I have the entitlement that expects to be heard. And that the reality is my white privilege gives me a space to go on the radio right now and talk about this. And this is something that all of my teachers, all of the teachers that made this field even possible to exist, most of them were African American. Almost all were people of color, primarily African American. And yet it's our voices, the white voices, who are heard right now in America in the field of whiteness studies. You know, we're getting credit, but we're not the ones who started this. However, so that one of the ways that I can get, when I'm triggered, where it can come out is that kind of take charge, be authority. We're kind of trained, I think part of white conditioning is to step up. And especially this goes for white males, but I have this in me as well. And to not always notice where my privilege, one of the women in our group calls it the dinosaur tail of privilege, where I'm kind of, my tail's wagging and making a mess, okay?
All right, some people, like in America now, a politician or somebody will say something racist, and then they say, I am not really a racist, you know, and them apologize. You know, most of the time them apologize and say, them never intended to be a racist remark or...
Yes.
Tell me
that's individualizing.
Psychologically, you know, as a therapist, how would you go into that person's consciousness to find out if that statement to them was really genuinely racist?
You got to educate. You got to educate about what is racism. Racism is not a set of it's not just attitude. Racism is a system of power and privilege that's set up, right? And racism, as I was saying, there's this conditioning that goes on all the time. It's in the unconscious mind. So even though someone may hate racism, want to undo it, love justice, want to stand up for it, the isms are conditioned and programmed into the mind. They're going to show up sometimes.
Definitely.
And classism is going to show up and sexism is going to show up. It's just a matter, so when people feel like I am not that, I understand that. I understand someone defending themselves and saying, I'm not that, because they feel in their heart they're good. No problem. Take it out of the individual mode, take it to the social level, study what happens on a social level, and know that it comes through each of us every day.
So you don't say that a person saying it by themselves, if they're in a group, they wouldn't say it, or if they're in a group, them say it, but not by themselves.
That's not so much, the conditions under which these things get vocalized. All right, I view it like there's tapes. I view the programming like a tape. If you're ever in a hospital, I do hospice work. If you're ever in a hospital where people are getting into dementia, you can start hearing them speak things that you're like, wait, that's not even you. What are you talking? You hear the social conditioning, and it's like a tape playing. Remember, one of the founders of the Untraining talked about his mother dying, and all of a sudden, all this stuff starts coming out, and he's like, wow, it was like that. It was like a tape player got pressed on play, and the stuff just starts coming through. It's not necessarily the individual views, but somewhere that training hooks in to the personality.
System,
It's things that they've heard.
It's like a drunken man. Sometimes drunken man talk we're really in their mind, you know. I don't know what is in the rum that cause when a man drunk, him start to actually say we're in our mind. And
you can say what's in other people's minds. So if there's a common social thought, I mean, it should be no secret. The way that Americans are trained to view black people, and the darker skin, the more the oppression. So the way that we're trained to view people, it's going to come through. It's not an individual thing. It can come through an individual, but when we hear one coach say something, it's not that one individual.
It's the system, the real system set up. Yeah. All right. We just mentioned the Klan a while ago, and for them thing, gays, Jews, blacks, society, we shall get rid of them in the society. From a white woman who is a Jew, what is the difference, or how is it formed in your consciousness as it relates to being Jewish, being white, saying this thing with Jewish friends, Jewish parents, or you just say it as a work thing rather than a living thing?
Well, no, I mean, it's my life work, but it's my spiritual path as well. I mean, this is kind of core to who I am. Undoing and peeling off the layers of social conditioning, to me, I'll say the reason I say it's a spiritual path is that when I start to look at the cultural conditioning, it helped me understand a lot of how my personality was shaped. I started looking at how I was conditioned to be as a woman, as a white woman, the class elements of it, as the heterosexism in there, all of these different layers of how I was trained to think and see other people. When I started peeling them back to be able to look at them, really liberating.
All right, give me an example. All
right, for a white woman, often we're trained not to be angry because an angry woman is a bitch, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they'll call you. So as a white woman, you're trained to suppress your anger. You're actually trained to not know when you're angry. So we suppress it, we project it. Primarily, black women get that target. So we view black women, wow, they're so angry, right? So, and on another level, when you deal with psychological field theories, if a group is suppressing an energy or an emotion, someone in that group will inevitably be the scapegoat, the person who will express it. They'll hold the energy for the group.
Hold on, you don't say some serious, profound thing. I want you to say it again, slowly.
All right.
Say it slowly. I want you to say it again, because I hear what you say, and I am agreeing with what you say, but I want the people them out there to directly hear exactly what you just said a while ago.
All right. So
suppression of anger you're talking
about. So as a white woman, I've been conditioned to suppress my anger, to not even know when I'm angry because it's not acceptable to be angry. It's not acceptable to be seen as angry. And part of the white conditioning, all right, I'm going to have to go back a little further. My father's side is Protestant. Okay, that's the dominant culture in America, dominant culture that formed the United States. Mother's side is Jewish Russian. We could get into that. We can get into that a bit if you want to. But with the father's side, the Protestant, is stiff upper lip. Don't show emotion. Okay? That's what it means to be civilized. Suppress every aspect of yourself into this little box, and then you are acceptable, and then you not only can fit in the system, you can be dominating that system to the degree that you can suppress yourself. So, as a white person, and specifically as a white woman, if I can control my anger to the point where I don't even know it, what's going to happen is I'm going to project that anger onto other people. And those people who show up as angry, I then label as uncivilized, unprofessional, unacceptable. I can even diagnose them. Being a therapist, I can send them to a psychiatrist, get them medicated, get them under control because they're too angry. All right? So if I'm suppressing any part of myself I'm suppressing, I'm going to project onto others. Now, with the scapegoat, if you have a group that is suppressing an energy or suppressing an emotion, there is always within the group one person, or if you get a society, you may have a group of people who will hold and express that suppressed emotion or energy. That's the scapegoat. That's who will be cast out. That's who will be seen as the problem. Okay? It's actually, interestingly, if you look at a family dynamic, when a family comes to me for therapy, usually a child is identified as having a problem, right? Any good therapist knows that the person who is the identified patient is rarely the problem. They're the person who's often the strongest in the family, who can hold the suppressed energy, who can hold the abuse, who can hold the oppression that's happening within the family, so they get to be the target of it, right? And anything that's being suppressed in the group comes out through that person. Make sense?
Yeah, it make a whole heap of sense to me. That's why, and I'm not even trying to dip into where you say, you know what I mean? Very interesting. This is the Culture Edge, and I refer, we're talking to a psychotherapist here, Swan Keys. She don't want to say Keys, but we say Keys.
The pronunciation of the name is the least important here.
Yeah, but I just say Keys. Swan Keys, psychotherapist. And I want to add a white woman who is a Jew. You know, she used to say one part of her family is Protestant and one part of her family is Russian Jew. Yeah, this is the Cutting Edge on RFM. We're talking to Swan, psychotherapist, and actually she's an ardent advocate against white supremacy and the effects it have on even for our group of people, which is white people. So we continue.
During the break just now, there was advertisement for. It sounds like there's a month that goes on against child abuse. Is that right?
Yeah, this month is Child Month in Jamaica.
All right. So, and I'm hearing about, as you called it the other night, I was hearing, the horror stories coming out around child abuse here, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and people saying, why? What's going on? Why is this happening? As if it's some mystery. So, I just finished reading the narrative of a slave owner here in Jamaica.
Which one of them?
This is, I think, Tacky. No, I'm sorry. I'm blending. I'm the worst with names. This is...
No, you have a slave named Tacky,
There's a slave named Tacky, but now I'm trying to think of the slave master who came here, obviously British man. Anyway, there's two that I've read that were rather shocking.
The one from St. Elizabeth? It's from St. Elizabeth, you're talking?
What's the name of that one?
I don't remember the name, but I know them have a book.
You can You can go and you find their journals and you can read their journals. It's not hard to get. And this is amazing because you read those journals and you realize the brutality, the child murder, the child rape, the tearing the child away from it's things that you know when you read it firsthand from the person who's perpetrating it, and you get the depravity of the mind, and you realize that, okay, so a person comes into the system where suddenly he has power and ownership over other beings, right? The abuse that happens, there's no end to it. So you see the terror that's inflicted upon a people, generation after generation after generation, of a kind of brutality that I had never really heard of, never really like that, all right? So it's no mystery what's happening today because there's been no healing. There's been no system. There's been no effective system of reparations.
We are traumatized.
It's a traumatized people. And you have no effective reparations. You have, the boot has not been taken off the neck to this day. The economics still seem to even be getting worse right now, right? And as long as the emancipation of the mind doesn't happen, this is going to go on. Okay, so there's two levels to deal with this. When I'm talking about the program, the untraining, we deal on a psychological level, but there has to also be an economic justice movement. And that's going to take a lot of people uniting. And that's going to take a challenging the system. Now, all of these isms are created to keep us from knowing the power of our spirit. And now I'm saying us because I'm talking about human beings. All right, I'm going to go broad and then I can come back in and get specific again. But on a broad level, what I realized for myself is the social conditioning made me always feel that there was something wrong. You were conditioned to believe that there's a right way to be, a white way to be, a right way to be. And what that conditioning does is it trains the mind to always feel there's something wrong with you, not good enough. So as a woman, you're trained that your body, everything is also a product. So your body becomes a product that's good enough in this way or not good enough in that way. Everything becomes a measurement. Everything becomes a commodity. The distraction is intense. So we're constantly distracted and made to feel like there's something wrong. So whatever the ism is, the person who's in the group that's being oppressed is going to be trained that there is something that's not good enough, that they have to live up to, a standard that is outside of themselves. Oh, that's going to take me to a white Jesus. All right, let's go there, yeah?
Go anywhere you are going.
All right.
Go anywhere you are going.
All right.
You listen to Cutting Edge all the while, so you shouldn't ask me that, man. Go anywhere you are going.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's throw them. Okay, so one of the things that surprised me is being in this field of white privilege studies, which was just barely beginning. I hadn't quite begun when I first got introduced to the untraining. It wasn't in schools yet. Okay, so I had to search. I'm a therapist. I'm in training as a therapist, and I realized like there's a lot of stuff that doesn't exist and that doesn't get taught in the program, and I'm realizing this is kind of dangerous because if you research the field of psychology and psychiatry, it's a brutal history. The kind of experiments that were done, about it, and I think you and I had discussed earlier that there were diagnoses given to slaves who ran away. that was considered because again, you're rebelling against an unjust system. So you're outside of the norm. So the system just defines you as abnormal, and that's a diagnosis, right? Okay, so as I'm studying this and I'm realizing okay, here I am as a white woman in a white-dominated field that is designed by, for, and about white people. Psychology developed in Europe, continued in the United States by white people. And the norm that we're expecting all of our clients to conform to is a white model. Even in the most spiritual, lovely, humanist fields of psychology, we're not really analyzing what is this model, right, on a cultural level. So I had to go outside of school, found this program, the Untraining, when it was in its very early stages, became a student. After a few years, was asked to teach in that program. Many years of studying, okay? And within that movement, then the white privilege conferences started, right? So I go to the white privilege conference, talk, listen to other people talk. More white privilege actually happens through those conferences. Kind of interesting. It's a good thing, whiteness studies, but it really needs to be critically examined. But within that, I never really heard of Rastafari until I met Abba Zero. Now, I met Abba Zero through the work because what we have in common is both of us have a life mission of undoing white supremacy in the world, breaking down that system. Okay? And here is someone who starts to tell me about a movement that is completely committed to the dismantling of white supremacy. I'm mind blown. Of course, I knew about Bob Marley. I actually met Peter Tosh when I was, 84. I was a child. So I had met him, but I never knew, I never knew what this Rasta thing was about. And when I start hearing that here's a group of people that said, we have to free the mind. We are going to stop eating the white man's food. We're going to stop wearing the white man's clothing. We're going to look at the language that we use.
Stick up in. We want to come forward to when we take the break and come out, and you said Jesus Christ a while ago, and they say, can I go there?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is carrying us to the Jesus thing.
Absolutely.
What you're saying. Okay,
so
all right. Yeah, man, continue.
Yeah, so here's a movement that's actually going to critically challenge this image of a white Jesus and replace that image of a white Jesus with an African God in a modern day, right? So that was shocking to me. That felt, so it shouldn't take a psychologist to understand the damage to the psyche that's done when you have a dark-skinned child who is conditioned to think that God looks like the image of the slave master. All right? So God is always going to be outside of himself, and God is always going to be something, the thing that he's going to seek, to want, to be like, to be close to, is the very thing that is oppressing him psychologically and physically. And when I'm talking, I don't want to sound anti-white, all right? I'm not anti-white. Some of my closest friends are white, okay? I don't have a self-hatred. I'm not living in guilt. I'm not one of those people who's apologetic for who I am, okay? That's not where I'm coming from. But what I'm looking at is whiteness as a cultural conditioning that's impacting the world for the destruction of the world.
Go, maybe if you are down where we're supposed to go, all right. The Jews, it is said, have been persecuted, and it shall kill 6 million Jews. Now the Jews are one of the biggest economical power on earth. They decide what is what and what is not in the earth, when it comes to, I don't know if you agree with that still. You agree with that? That the Jews right now is the economical base of America?
Well, I would say that Jewish people in America have gained, as a group, quite a disproportionate level of economic privilege and power.
All right.
Absolutely. I'm not a person who's going to say Jews are controlling the world, because it's a very slippery slope there. And I find that when we start, I won't go there. I'm gonna listen to you for a minute.
All right, what I want, we can take this thing and come forward. I hope I remember what I was going to say. Yes.
Mosquitoes will breed in containers that hold water. Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, buckets, and tanks, or cover the water surface with cooking oil. Punch holes in all tins, plastic containers, and boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover old tires or fill with dirt. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs, and dispose of garbage by placing in plastic bags. Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. A message from the Ministry of Health.
This is Guinness Street Football Challenge, powered by DigiCells. See the press or visit the Guinness Caribbean Facebook page for more details. Must be 18 years or older to play. Enjoy Guinness responsibly. Sponsored by Gatorade, Happy Eyes, Digicel, Locker Room. Endorsed by the JFF.
Thursday afternoon from 12:15 to 1:15 on Easy Skanking. We heights up heart, mind, and soul to soul.
Then testosterone element. Show the wicked nation. Lightning.
Maypen Clarendon, ready? It's the Zip 103 FM Wet Fest Sunday, May 24, 2015. Woodley Shooting Range. Latest 3 for 1 before 3 p.m. Gates open at 2 p.m. Admission General 800 500 if you like Zip on Instagram. Performing live, Idonia, and Ding Dong. Come prepared to get wet in our water slides and foam pits. Sponsored by Starlight Productions, Bad Dog Sausages, Value Mart Supermarket, and Ray and Evie White Overproof Rum. So is that next soca party? No star, them a play everything. Sunday, May 24. It's the Zip 103 Wet Fest. 18 and older to drink. Drink responsibly. No weapons allowed. No trouble, nothing.
Of course, we all hope that our loved ones will always be safe. But just hoping won't protect your family. Which is why Guardian Group life insurance policies are designed to take care of your family if anything should happen to you. So you can all feel a little more secure. Live secure. Live easy.
This is the Cutting Edge on IRFM. All right. So I remember what exactly I was going to ask you, right? We're talking about Jews now and whites.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Klan, the main thing is against Jews, gays, and homosexuals. Sorry, and blacks.
Mm-hmm.
Hitler never did recognize Jews as pure white people.
Yeah.
It's like him see them as some bastard of something.
Yes.
So you have two groups will come out non-apologetically and say Jews, we're going to wipe them out. And then you have whites now who is supposed to be the privileged now. People who look on Jews now, they must see white people. People who, I mean, for instance, you know, a person, that's a white person first, unless you're going to tell them, but me's a Jew too.
Right.
So, all right. Oh, what is the difference between white privilege and Jewish privilege? Recognizing that Jews now hold a certain power in the economical and political structure of the Western world, and white power where the two of them collide now because you have white people who is Jews and Jews who is white people. And the two of them collide now into this system, this white supremacist system. Who's at the head?
Well, Jews have gained white privilege in the United States. So one group after another that came in from different parts of Europe were integrated into a system where they gained white privilege, right? So there was a time when the Irish didn't have that, and then Irish were declared white, and suddenly now the Irish, because divide and conquer. If you have Irish indentured servants and African slaves rising up together because they recognize the oppressor is a class issue, if they're rising up together and you can give the Irish this little bump up and say, okay, well, now you're white, you're going to have some legal status that the Africans don't have, then all of a sudden the Irish who are on the bottom of the so-called white, the term hadn't been formed yet initially, but they're on the bottom. Now you give them a little bit of privilege and train them to view the African as less than. So each group that comes, the Irish, then the Italians, you get one group after another. So Jews coming in from Eastern Europe, not white. My grandmother, I remember my mother's mother, the first time I referred to her as white, she was shocked. I said, well, what do you mean? We're talking about white people. And she was she couldn't relate to it. She actually asked me to use a different term because she had never thought of herself as white. So when she was...
What do you see yourself as? Just Jew?
What, I see myself as a white person. I see myself...
No, your mother, your grandmother.
My grandmother, she was a Jew. Yeah. So as a Jew, there were places she wasn't allowed to live, she wasn't allowed to work at Travelers Insurance. And
there was a persecution I get, King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella, them run out the Jews and the blacks out of Granada.
Now, in the United States in the early 20th century is not, yet the persecution, there's levels of it, but it's not, what's happening, what I see, my mother's side of the family can never fit in. So my father's side of the family is normal America. That's what I thought, as a child. I never really broke it down in terms of culture and in terms of race, but my father's side was clearly this kind of people they see on TV. So this norm that's just the norm. It's just what you see as the normal people that I thought I should try to be like. My mother's side, the Jewish side, doesn't fit in. Too loud, too intense, too political, too sexual, too psychological, too emotional, too much. All right, they're different. They're different. And I don't know if that's something coming out of Eastern Europe or what it is, but there is something on my mother's side that I see that is carrying a lineage of oppression. Now, our stories, of course, biblically, the myths go back to some time of slavery long ago in Egypt. So we repeat these stories that were coming out of slavery, and then you have the Holocaust in Europe, right? So you have people who are survivors, and you have those lineages of trauma that are continuing. So you have some real internalized stuff that needs to be addressed. You have internalized oppression. And I learned that I didn't want to be like my mom's side. When I was growing up, I learned unconsciously that I wanted to be more contained, more normal, my father's side. I never thought about it, but I closed down parts of myself, like we were talking earlier. I suppressed the parts that my mother's side of the family couldn't suppress as well. So you have Jews much more likely to be diagnosed. Bipolar is a big one. Used to be hysteria. So you have a people who haven't quite learned to contain themselves, and a people who are coming with a history and a mythology of oppression, mythology and reality, and a real history of facing oppression, and the oppression gets internalized. So there's this feeling of being other, of being not good enough, of being too much, of being uncivilized, in fact. But it gets confused. We never really talk about it or deal with it. We only look at the anti-Semite out there and the danger, and we're trained to know that danger is going to repeat. In Israel, Holocaust Remembrance Day is a big thing where you have to know that this is going to happen again. So there's a psychology of being the oppressed. It comes in clash with the reality today of economic privilege that many Jews, not all, so there's a stereotype, but many Jews have gained, and a disproportionate number of Jews have certainly. If you want to break down wealth, you won't find, if you Google the top 100 wealthiest people in the world, you're not going to find the majority of them are Jews, but you will find that there's a disproportionate number, because Jews are such a small percentage of the population. You wouldn't expect to see that large.
So you will see that there's a thin line between Jewish privilege and white privilege, where there's a point where the two of them collide.
It is white privilege.
And you can't tell the difference.
It is white privilege. Jewish privilege is white privilege. So, and it's complicated by the fact that you have an identity that needs a healing. You have an identity of people who has been oppressed and holds that oppression internally, then comes into privilege, comes into white privilege, and it's very confusing. How do you identify as both an oppressed group and an oppressor? The psychology of it gets a little tricky.
That's what I'm saying. There comes a time when them collide and you can't tell the difference between Jewish privilege and white privilege. The two of them seem to be one.
Well,
like when you look on when you look on the oppressor. In other words, when you look on the oppressor, you see a white person, and when you look on the oppressor, you see a Jewish person.
Okay, and that makes sense, because also you're not going to see a black Jewish person as the oppressor, right? So it is white privilege, because not all Jews have that privilege. Okay, if you're dealing in Israel today, you know what's happening with the racial dynamics. It's nothing new. But you also have you have a country that wants to maintain a Caucasian basis. So
like Netanyahu.
Yes. So if I want to immigrate to Israel, I can do that very easily. My mother's a Caucasian Jew. Okay? But if you're Russian, you don't even have to have a parent who's a Caucasian. You need one grandparent.
Yes.
So there's a pull to bring in more Jewish people from Russia. You have more Caucasians. You want to maintain. There's the racism of
most
the state.
of the people that work at the airports in Tel Aviv is Russians.
Yeah, there's a lot of Russians coming in, and that's where my great grandfather came to the United States from Russia, and there is a lot of racism in the society there. So that is brought to Israel. It's brought to the United States.
So we understand a white person. All the Jews. After going through all of that, I will take the case of Netanyahu now. After going through all of what them go through, Hitler, this, that, the black plague running out them outside Europe and things. How it come to the situation now where the oppressor become the oppressed become the oppressor in a system that never see them as people, like white supremacy. I am thinking never recognize Jews, but now the Jews recognize it. White supremacy is now carrying out the work of white supremacy. It's like a black man who don't realize him black and him carry like the government of Jamaica. The government of Jamaica is mostly black people, but them carrying out the work of the same slave master.
Of course.
So psychotherapy, what would psychotherapy
it's unhealed trauma. It's unhealed trauma. So when you have unhealed trauma that doesn't go addressed, right? Stuff gets suppressed, it's going to be projected, and it's going to repeat. So you also, you hear history repeats itself. These cycles of violence and oppression will continue until or unless something interrupts them. Until or unless you have a system that's going to challenge it on multiple levels, on a psychological level, on an emotional level, and on looking at power imbalance and structure, and looking at economic balance, and say, okay, we have to look at all of these levels. So as a Jewish person, my family has gained economic privilege in the United States, but they haven't done the work. They haven't done the work to really, and no psychology, is very rare to meet a therapist or any psychologist who is really looking at the cultural conditionings that create. So we'll look at the individual level. We don't look at the social level. We're conditioned. So this is part of white psychology. What whiteness is, let me give a cultural, what white culture values most is individual. So white psychology is based on the individual. All right, so our model of health is based on, we have a term, individuation. It's how well someone can separate themselves out from a group and stand up as an individual, right? Now, we just look at that as a norm of health. We don't look at that as a cultural value. Many cultures of the world have a collectivist value, right? Where the community, you are part of a community. So in Japan, for example, here we have a saying, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. In Japan, it's the nail that sticks out gets the hammer. It's not a good thing to stand out when you're in a collectivist culture. It's a good thing to learn how to blend in with your community, with your family, to work in harmony. So you would have a very different model of psychology. In the white model, where the breakdown happens, let me rewind a little bit. So whiteness begins with a separation of self from spirit, of self from land. So when things become a commodity, when your land becomes a commodity, when your body becomes a commodity, when everything becomes a commodity, you have what you see in the world today, right?
But why is it that white people fight for land? So if you say them separate from land,
because we think we can own it.
Yeah, so it's not the land itself, it's ownership, the psychology of ownership rather than the psychology of land itself, then. That's what you're saying.
Well, land is power.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's the psychology of ownership.
Yeah.
Which is the power that, rather than the psychology of this is land, this is nature. That is what it is.
So you think about my father's family, early colonial settlers coming to the United States, encountering a people who say, you can't own land. The land owns you. You belong to the earth, right? And you have a British system coming in that says, no, we own land. We're going to take this land. This land is our land. And everything is a commodity, including people, including human beings, right? So everything is commodified, and that is this white culture that is dominating the world now and breaking down and destroying every indigenous and every collectivist culture in the world, and destroying the environment, because if your environment is a product, if everything is a product that you can own, we're not stewards of it.
All right. So who is supporting economically? All right. America is the biggest money giver to Israel.
Yes. The Israeli economy cannot last more than 3 months without U.S. foreign aid.
All right. So the question is, who is giving that money? Is it the Jews or the whites? Who is giving that money? It's not that we're separating Jews from whites now, but for the purpose of this conversation, who is supporting the Netanyahu economy? Is it the Jews who have what them would say a emotional connection with, or is it the whites in America.
That's not an either or. But the reason that the United States supported the formation of the country of Israel was to give us an economic base in the Middle East.
Yeah, but what I'm asking you, who is supporting this? Is it
today?
Who is it? Is it the white people who don't see themselves?
It's the military-industrial complex.
Who are they? Are they white people who don't see themselves as Jews, or is it Jewish people who see themselves as Israelis?
It's the military-industrial complex, and it's an economic system at play. All of the identities involved really distractions.
So you don't see identity as it relates to
I see it as very important.
The power. Eh?
I do see it as very important.
Yeah,
While it's a distraction, it's very important.
So we could talk about the importance of the identity then.
Okay.
Because the identity it cannot be shrugged aside.
Yeah.
There must be an identity. So.
And the Jewish psychology is very complex. As I said, because we are conditioned to see ourselves as victims and because we have been victims, right? I have never personally experienced any overt physical violence against me as a Jew.
By white people?
By anybody.
Okay.
I've never experienced that. And yet I hold within me a psychology around what it means to be Jewish and this internalized oppression that has to be addressed. Okay? That can get in the way. In fact, sometimes white supremacy can come easier through a Jewish activist, a leftist Jew, can more easily embody racism unconsciously because our identity around being a victim it still needs to be worked through. It still needs to be undone.
That is why I'm asking the question.
Okay.
And it's related to what I'm saying about Israel. Is it white people money? And I don't want to separate whites from Jews neither. Because to me, and I will separate them. But for the purpose of this reasoning here, is it the white people them who don't, like for instance the Ku Klux Klan, who don't recognize Jews as white?
Yeah.
Or like the Nazi them who don't recognize Jews as white? Is it this money who is nationalistic towards Israel, who see themselves as Israeli, from America? Or is it white people who don't recognize themselves as Israeli? It's whose money is given to, where the money coming from? It's coming from which one of those groups it's coming from?
The money is coming from the U.S. government. It's coming from every taxpayer in America. And it's
but
coming.
Somebody control the government.
Okay, absolutely. And that is white supremacy controlling the government. And there are a disproportionate number of Jews who are involved in the higher levels of our government, for sure.
So you say most of it is white people then, not Jews.
Well, look at who's in the government. You just
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who's in the government. Most of it is white people then, not Jews.
Well, look at who's in the government. You just
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know who's in the government. The only person I know in the government is Bush and Obama, and then now you have Hillary and all these people.
Okay, and you also do have a disproportionate number of Jewish people in high positions of power. There's never been a Jewish president. Maybe there will be. Kind of doesn't matter who the face is again. But you also have Christian fundamentalists who support Israel, and people put it out as it's a religious thing. Okay, people think that the reason that the Christian right supports Israel is this fanatic idea that all Jewish people have to return to the land for the second coming. Blah blah blah. The reality is it's economics. Okay, if you're maintaining the system of an elite, smaller and smaller group of people running the planet, Israel fits into our plan for that. In the United States, Israel is a powerful tool. For a long time, there was an arms triangle between the United States, South Africa, and Israel. Economically, there was a small group of people who got extremely rich off of that. So, as with the United States, the Israeli government has an agenda that does not serve, it's not meant to serve the majority of people. It's not meant to serve even the majority of Jewish people. It's meant to serve a small group of transnational corporations that are moving to dominate the entire globe. So, as with the United States, the Israeli government does not represent the Israeli people. And in fact, the way that they're operating the state of Israel with the current state of oppression towards Palestinian people, towards African people, towards anyone outside of this small group, it's the most dangerous thing that could possibly be done on the planet.
So you feel that the majority of so-called Jews in America is with the Palestinian struggle?
Do I feel the majority? I couldn't say that. I don't know what percentage. I know within leftist, I tend to travel a lot within so-called liberal or leftist circles where
they have sympathy.
Absolutely, because and the core value, the values that I actually hold dear about Judaism that came through my mother's side that I love are the focus on social justice, on tikkun olam, on mending the world. I love that. My Christian side, it's different. Yeah. It's different. My Christian side has a charity. It's a whole different story. But with the Jewish side, there really is a focus on that we're supposed to be fighting for the right of any underdog. Okay? So when you look at a state of Israel, you take that psychology and you've got to apply it to the state of Israel. There's going to be a hell of a lot of sympathy for half the nation that's living under the boot of the other half. It doesn't fit. It doesn't fit to have the Jewish state is supposed to, if we believe in the mythology, it's supposed to be a light upon nations. And, my grandmother's psychology is, well, you don't understand, we're surrounded by enemies, they want to push us into the sea, and I understand her psychology.
All right. Go ahead. All right. I want to come back to this Jewish versus whites thing, because hearing you speak, I see some things. Maybe I never see it before, but it kind of in front of me. All right. The majority of Jews, the majority of people who call themselves Jews in America. All right. We are told that the majority of whites give credence to, you say one side of the family is Christian, so say them is Christian. So would you say that the majority of Christians is white, and the majority of Israelis are Jude, and they give credit to Judaism, or is it that there is an intermingling of religious ideas now that you can't tell the difference between a Jewish Christian or a white person who embraced Judaism?
I kind of got lost in there because I think right now the majority of the Christians in the world wouldn't be white. I mean, the way Christianity's been spread in Africa and Asia right now.
No, I'm talking in America. In America, not the world. In America.
Okay.
Because we are dealing with two forces in America now, Jewish and whites. And I am saying that there's a thin line between the Jewish privilege and white privilege. What I'm saying now is that let's go outside of economics now. Is the majority of Jews in America giving credence to Judaism and the majority of whites giving credence to Christianity, or is there a mixing up of the pot now where there is most Jews now are Christians and a whole heap of white people now is turning to Judaism?
I don't think a whole lot of people are turning to Judaism. I don't know. I've never heard of anything like that. I have actually never known any. Yes, I've known one person who once converted to Judaism, and that was an interesting. What was actually?
You don't have no Jew who is religion is Judaism.
Don't have any Jew whose religion?
Yeah, you don't have no people who say them as Jew.
Oh no, I don't know anybody who's Christian who converted to Judaism.
Okay.
So in terms of
you have Jews who convert to Christianity.
Yeah, but the majority of Jews in America are secular. So, and this is partly a result of World War II, where a lot of people turned atheist. So you have a lot of atheist Jews, yeah? And you have a lot of secular Jews where we maybe identify as Jewish culturally, or you'll hear people say, well, I'm Jewish on my parents' side. That's a common phrase. So you have a lot of young people who grow up who feel alienated from, we don't really understand what Judaism is, or we're alienated from the histories, we're alienated from the culture, or youth who are just trying so hard to fit into the norm that the Judaism becomes. Both of my brothers don't really understand why anyone would want to identify as Jewish. They don't. But
really I was sitting around. Remember, I was sitting around a table in San Francisco the other day, and something licked me, and I tried to figure it out. When I was told that the majority of Jews is atheists. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you remember that reasoning.
Yeah.
The majority of Jews is atheists.
I've never seen a number on it.
No,
but there's
the table,
absolutely.
Round the table, there was two Jews there, two black persons, and I was told that the majority of Jews is atheists, and the Jews them never disagree with it.
Okay,
so I'm trying to figure out if you and the other person if agreeing with it, it means I would draw the conclusion that maybe you are atheist and the Virgins are atheists.
Well, where the majority language comes in is that there have been, all right, a majority of Jews in America are not religiously motivated right now. They're not going. We don't go to synagogue. We don't necessarily. We're not holding the prayers that the grandparents knew. We're not living as religious Jews. So this is where we get into what is a Jew, right? So is it's many cultures? What is a Jew?
Have a conversation around the table,
right? But there are quite a few Jewish atheists who are prominent within the actual atheist movement in the United States. Lately, there have been some documentaries coming out about what is an atheist, and you will find a lot of the leaders are Jews. And partly, my understanding of that and the psychology that I have been exposed to is what happened in World War II was the faith was challenged in a very big way. So Jews saying, how can there be a God?
So the statement, because of what happened.
How could there be a God?
Yeah,
yes. How could a God allow that?
So the statement.
And we have rabbis who are atheists. Yes.
I will go back to that. This is the continuation I refer. Yeah, the Jewish people that say you have a rabbi who's atheist.
What you doing for Labor Day? Retiling the bathroom or changing out the kitchen faucet? Check out the savings at Home and Things this Labor Day, cause the Labor Day savings just got sweeter. Get everything you need for all your Labor Day projects at Home and Things. Best selection of tiles, bathroom fixtures and faucets, granite, paint, drywall, joint compound, and so much more. Wrap up big discounts this Labor Day at Home and Things, Old Hope Road and Constant Spring Road.
Jamaica has it all, including 3 stunning all-inclusive resorts at Iberostar, Rose Hall Beach and Spa Complex in Montego Bay. Enjoy an unforgettable family-friendly or adults-only getaway. Iberostar offers spacious accommodations, warm hospitality, delicious all-inclusive dining, world-class entertainment, and endless recreation. All at great rates in the greatest location, right here in Jamaica. Contact your travel agent or call 680-0000 today.
Sashi Bashi Entertainment presents a day and night event dubbed to Mothers with Love. Saturday, May 16 at the Golden Grove Community Center. Football and netball competition, domino tournament, Kitty Street, and more. Featuring Stone Love, Jam and Chill Disco. Admission, kids 150, adults 300.
Hey, the road to the Lime National Street Futsal Finals goes to Clarendon. It's the Lime National Street Futsal Round of 16 and quarterfinals. Jamalco Sports Complex, Sunday, May 17, 2015. Starting at 11 a.m. All parish champions play for their spot in the final 4. Come out in your thousands. Support the teams, get some giveaways, and stay for the after party. Entry is free. The Lime National Street Futsal Round of 16 and quarterfinal. Live commentary by me, Oral Tracy. See you there.
What's the scoop? WTF!
What's hot?
What's not?
It's hype.
It's flop.
WTS gives you all the happenings
in entertainment and more.
Saturday morning.
From 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. hold a par with me, your vibe queen, Mrs. Keith, the real and Lady Renee.
Then from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. you don't know, clock in and lock in with me, Kishiba Francis.
At 6:15 p.m.
for live performances plus a bag of things.
Watch it live at
IRIFM.net.
What's the scoop?
WTF!
Yeah.
May 10th, the 103 FM Web Fest. Sunday, May 24, 2015. Woodley Complex is the place to be. Clarendon. Ladies, 3 for 1 before 3 p.m. Gates open at 2 p.m. Performing live. Ding Dong Ravers. Special attraction, 4-bit water slide. Come and meet your favorite zip jocks. Look here, this event is not a soccer team, it's a water.
Yeah, this is the Continuation IRFM. Some revelation are going on, so and from my headspace, it's very sweet for you, the reasoning. All right, you did that say you know rabbis who are atheists.
Yeah, my grandmother discovered that her rabbi was atheist to kind of come to a shock. But you know,
grandmother who gave me the book.
Yeah. Same one. She realized it as a child. She realized that her rabbi was atheist. Now, he wasn't publicly admitting that he was atheist, but he was questioning. And she realized at a young age that the reason he kept asking them as children, do you believe in God? Do you believe in God? She realized one day, she said to him, you don't believe in God. And it stopped him.
So him is an evolutionist?
I don't know what he did believe in, but
him just don't believe in God.
Well, here's the thing. One of the other things I love about the culture is that within Judaism, we're trained to question everything. I love that. Okay, but if you're trained to question everything, when you're looking at a Bible and you're looking at some things that don't make sense, and you're trained to question everything, part of what we do is there's a saying, 2 Jews, 3 opinions, right? So it's like we have, part of the psychology is to be questioning everything. It's very hard to believe in a God as a real estate agent, a God in the Bible that says I'm going to promise you this land. And then that same God is going to say, yeah, right, go ahead in and slaughter them. Okay, well, what kind of God, what kind of schizophrenic God? If you question everything, it's going to be quite hard to believe in God as a man who has these different personalities. To me, from a psychological perspective, that's human beings creating a God in their image.
Yeah, so when you sit down with your grandmother and say these things, you sit down and say these things.
Oh, yeah.
What she say?
Oh, we get in the biggest conversation. She agrees. She said that she doesn't, and a lot of Jews will say this. So when you're in synagogue, I have not spent a lot of time in Orthodox synagogues, but in the synagogues that I have been to, when we're doing Torah study, we're not looking at the Torah as fact. We're not looking at it like a fundamentalist Christian would be looking at it like this is the Word of God. We're looking at it, breaking it down. If this is mythology, if this is, my grandmother and I would look at the Torah and we'll say, okay, let's view this as poetry. And we'll break it down. And what does this mean? And in synagogues, it's pretty normal to say, well, we don't know. We don't know what in here is fact. We don't know what in here is history. So we break it down. And then at the same time, though, there can be a clinging to a history and a mythology that happens in the very next breath. And particularly when we get into Israel, which is the toughest topic for most Jewish families who have any political leanings, because there's a whole lot in there that's really painful, and there's a whole lot that needs to be explored. But atheism is common. I would think that most people who are in a Jewish family have at least one member, or at least one member of their extended family who would identify.
That's all like Jamaica, at least one, somebody in the family is Rasta.
All right.
But I've been accused by a famous Reverend Ian Boyd say I'm an atheist.
Okay. So then you gotta say, what is an atheist?
No, well, the arrogance of Christians, this is the point now. The arrogance of Christians is that if you don't believe in the God of the Bible, you're an atheist.
Right, exactly.
The God of the Bible recognize other gods. Because I'm saying, thou shalt not have no other God but me, because him is a jealous God.
Yes.
So if the God in the Bible is recognizing that there's other gods, why is it that if I believe in the other gods and not in the God of the Christian Bible, I am an atheist? Because atheists mean you don't have no deity in front of you. You don't recognize a deity. Right? I am not telling nobody say I don't recognize a deity, because I continue talking about Haile Selassie. So if Haile Selassie is the center of my spirituality, it means in the narrow sense of the word, Haile Selassie is God. But I choose not to use God, because I see God as a narrowing down of my perception and concept of who I see in Haile Selassie.
Well, atheist is just another word that gets used to demonize people, right? Because atheist means you're deviating from the normal and the prescribed standard of how you're supposed to think and act. And people think if you're atheist, it means that you're going to be immoral.
Wicked,
right?
You don't have no ethics, you don't have no morality and all them things. Like the only morality that exists is Christianity.
So again, that's a tool of white supremacy. Okay, religion. I think religion may have its place, and I know there's liberation theology, and I don't want to demonize any particular religion, but of course, as institutions of religion, organized religion is used and has been used historically to oppress people. And Christianity is one of the greatest tools that white supremacy has used, the most powerful tools, to where you can have, and I have heard this, the first time I thought it was a joke, the first time I heard a Jamaican person say, thank God for slavery because it brought us Christianity. I thought that was a joke. When I realized it wasn't a joke, that broke my heart.
No, you have people in Jamaica who think that if we never left Africa, we would have run up and down wild in the bush them. So give thanks to white people. Them don't say give thanks to God, you know. Them say give thanks to white people for take we out of the run up and down wild people them in Africa.
So that brainwashing is so intense.
Deep, man. It's deep, man. Deep. When you have a set of people who think that about themselves, say if them never did left Africa, them would have wild and run up and down like savage, and because them come here to know, because they can't use cell phone.
So so that white supremacist conditioning has just run so deep that it can go unquestioned in the mind.
Yes, and it make you become white supremacist.
Okay.
A black person.
Okay.
You know, we have a saying in Jamaica, roast breadfruit. I don't know if you know what a roast breadfruit looks like. It's black outside and inside white.
Right.
Well, you have black people who is black, but white supremacy run just under them skin. If you peel with them skin, them is like the breadfruit. And you can't tell them no different.
Well, the white that's why I say that whiteness is a mindset.
Yes.
Okay, it comes with the physical form, and you can look at the physical structure of who it's meant to and who it's meant to uphold is definitely going to be a light-skinned group of people. But the mindset is in everyone.
Deep, man.
And it took me a while to see that, because for a long time with doing the untraining white liberal racism, I felt that my only job was to work with white people on, because I have to look at myself and we have to look at each other ourselves together. And often if we're trying to do anti-racism work together in mixed race groups, it would be people of color, and particularly African Americans, often end up leading and teaching and not getting paid to do so. So it felt like, okay, we need a caucus, and white people, we need to come together and really look at this because it's a white problem. Now I see that white conditioning has actually penetrated most people, maybe even most people on the planet, but most people that I encounter in the places that I travel have been deeply impacted by this conditioning. Asia, we could get into some complications there, but I'll try to hold the focus.
Yeah, well, I want to tell you, Jamaica is seen as this vanguard for African liberation, black liberation. But if you really dig deep into the Jamaican psyche, whether them is coming from the educated or it coming from the ghetto, or some serious hatred of self there. Serious hatred of self. You can hardly tell Jamaican people to them are African.
Okay, so this is why Rastafari is so significant on the planet. If there's going to be an undoing, this movement has got to be united and has got to be strong and cannot be watered down and cannot be diluted. It's got to make a comeback right now. It's the only real hope that I see as far as a social movement that could actually challenge that. All right, but if Rasta falls, so white supremacy has penetrated Rastafari. You see it. And you see the breakdown, and you see the disunity, or you see medical marijuana coming in. You see the right to use sacramental, personal, whatever forms that actually get passed. I know they're looking at a few different tracks. If Rasta doesn't unify, this is an opportunity. But when you see the money coming in, if white supremacy, if the mentality of white supremacy is not challenged and addressed, and only Rasta can do this.
Well, you know with Rasta, you have to know.
If it's not addressed, though, the oppression.
You see the song, One Love, One Heart, let's get together and be all right.
Yeah.
A whole heap of Rasta not seeing it as a unification song for Rasta.
Mm-hmm.
Our black people, they must see it a unification for everybody on the planet. So because them look on the wide level of one love, one heart, let's get together and be all right now, them lose focus that the significance of black identity as Rasta did start. Rastafari is a black power movement with a spiritual center.
Yes.
And it was started by our forefather Leonard Howell to liberate black people from what, as him said, from colonialism and white supremacy. That is the exact word him use,
Yes.
To liberate black people from the King of England, colonialism, and white supremacy. Now we find it because we reach a stage now of privilege. Rasta lead a certain stage of privilege now. Them lose focus of the crippling of white supremacy.
So, and there needs to be a program that is dismantling the white supremacist mindset. And that's where only the livity can do that. So a return to the earth, a rejection of this white model of ownership, of individualization. There has to be a constant look. So if you have Rasta fighting Rasta, and it's getting, so now you can go online and on YouTube and the emails that go out, it's extremely
destructive. You have a brethren, a very popular artist in Jamaica, when you see online the things them where him say about other Rasta and other people, and I know, so you see them too.
I just experienced this young woman who's in a fight over a cultural heritage site to gain ownership back for Rasta, right? And out comes this an elder calling her a whore online and posting there's a video of her making love with her man and is treated like she's a whore.
Business, yeah.
What is
terrible,
that about?
Man. Terrible.
What is that about?
What it is about when people who do have nothing feel to them have all up on a little something, and them get corrupted by the little something.
Okay, so the focus has to come back then on emancipating the mind. The focus has got to be held. Okay, when you start to see the bleaching and you start to see the white mode of what you're supposed to look, when you start to see the straightening of the hair, the destruction of the crown, it's like, oh, this movement can be broken? No. When I'm exposed to, for the first time, to who King Emmanuel is and what the Bobo Shanti movement did in the way that you address people, in hip hop, it's my bitch, this and that. Within the Bobo Shanti movement, my lord, my empress, princess,
queen,
wow, what this movement can do, the treasure that is held here in Jamaica, if this is squandered, there's not much hope. And when the money comes in around this marijuana, watch out.
Well, I tell you, you know what I'm saying? Lord Acton says, power corrupt. Absolute power corrupt, absolutely. And when you have certain people, if you don't have nothing, the little way you get look like everything.
Okay, but if you have Rasta, you have so much. If you have the heart of Rastafari and if you have the focus on undoing white supremacy, then every time there's a meeting and you start to see the division, just the question needs to be raised. Where is white supremacy coming through right now?
Nobody's look here,
let's return to the heart.
Sister, I can tell you something, man. Rasta stop question white supremacy, man. Them stop because the man say it's not the color of one skin or it's not, whether you're up this or you this. Everybody, which I agree still, everybody is susceptible to cruelty and wickedness because he's not really, a man is not evil, It's him have evil, him do evil, but man innately is not evil. But where I am now is that because a man has say, everybody is everybody now, him lose the focus that we not really reach nowhere yet. If you say white supremacy, we could forget about white supremacy. His Majesty say until the color, and people don't listen to what him say, Him say until the color of a man's skin is of no significance than the color of his eyes. Him say there is a philosophy that all one race superior and the other inferior. What is the philosophy? The thing we are talking about now, racism and white supremacy. Him say, until that philosophy is crumbled, we Africans will fight if it is necessary.
Yes.
Because we are confident in the victory of good over evil.
Yes.
We still there until at that Rastafari say, watch out. You could have got Europe like a more go tour. And 100,000 white people out there stand up on a chair. The struggle not done. Black people struggle not done because right now, when a man got Europe and 100,000 people in front of him, and him say white people, him say, yes, see there, white people love Rasta, And him start to get, yes, you're Rastafari, see, we are rule the world. Rule which world? And you can't even build up a little out, don't get up, it's all woman, you talk about rule world. And that we are talking about, Say, this idea of Rastafari, where you talk about, it reach a stage now where the focus, when Leonard will come say, Rastafari, him give me Haile Selassie say, you did have a king in England, we not dealing with no king in England, we are dealing with the Ethiopian king. We not dealing with America, we are dealing with Africa. Rasta get caught in the system to the point where now him cannot separate, just like how some people can't, we are talking about Israel, white Israel, white people who is Jew. It's like it's a thin line right now. Rasta can't separate between what you know. This over here so is white supremacy, and this over here says black liberation. Him don't know the difference, because where man look pan now, cloud up him eye, him not see black nor white. I hate when people tell me that, you know. They don't say black nor white.
Color blindness is one of the most destructive things.
Say it again, as a white woman, so you don't say a white
color
woman.
blindness is one of the most destructive things that can happen in terms of undoing racism. Color blindness is a roadblock. So in America, or in the United States, often what white people will say, and not just white people anymore, but this comes primarily through white people, is I don't see color.
Black people say that don't have some more than anything else.
What that means from a white person is it means don't tell me about your oppression because I can't see it. If I can't see color, I can't see your history. I can't see your economic status. I cannot see power and oppression. Don't talk to me about it because I don't even see that. And don't accuse me of it because I'm different, right?
Very, very
Shuts
profound,
down the conversation.
Very profound. If you don't see color, you can't see my oppression. This is the cutting edge. Think I'm going to win the next election in America.
Oh, I don't care.
You don't care.
It's the same system that's going to run. It's the same destructive mode we're in. It's going to, maybe it'll be the first female and then they can say sexism is over. It's a distraction.
And the same thing we're saying at Jamaica, it don't make no difference. The PNP, but the system there, you have to change the system. The individual is not the important.
And it doesn't matter if there's a good politician or bad. I can't say it doesn't matter. I'll say there are some programs that do. In America, you had Carter Start, Head Start. All right, that made a big difference for a lot of youths who needed the preschool paid for. It made a big difference in society for a little while. Reagan came in and he cut that. That hurt people. So if you have a president who comes in, cuts food stamps, cuts social spending, that it does make a difference. It hurts. But in either case, you still have the same interests. All right, it's just how slow you want your poison. All right, but both tracks with having a two-party system is destructive first and foremost. You're not supposed to have a party system where the parties are fighting each other. You're supposed to have representatives, ideally. Like I said before, government was initially formed to protect the privilege, right? And that's still in place. But as long as you got this two-party system, you're just going to have people fighting each other and fighting and bickering and keeping the focus off of the things that matter, which would be actually serving the people. And the leaders are not going to do that. The people have to lead, and the leaders will follow.
You know that what you just said a while ago, if you transport that to Jamaica, it's the same way my whole Jamaican feel, say, the PNP and the JLP has locked the people them in such a state now where it's one or the other, but one or the other don't make no difference because it's a system which is left here by white people. Where we say we have an independence and we don't have no independence. It's white people left that system and them left it intact to the point where black people control it now, but them control it on behalf of the same system where they have them same black people there in a slavery.
I'm telling you, when I'm here, what I see, Rasta's got to lead. And when I'm saying Rasta, I'm saying the heart. Okay, black supremacy. When I first encountered Mama Aita and Haya, Haya is explaining to me, I'm hearing black supremacy, black supremacy. Now, my only context of supremacy is white supremacy, which is a very destructive. It kills. It kills. Its goal is to wipe out, right? So when I'm hearing black supremacy, and yet I'm feeling this heart of love, it's kind of what is this? What's this mean? And it was Haya who helped me see that just through how he was with me. Yeah. It's like black supremacy is not for the destruction. Black supremacy is recognizing the beauty and restoring the dignity and restoring justice to a people that's been trampled. When you do that's going to uplift all people. So when I'm looking at black supremacy, it is not the equivalent of white supremacy. It's not
definitely
the opposite.
Definitely not.
It's a restoration that would actually assist all people on the planet.
Yeah, all right, we're going to play a tune for you. And you're not going to believe that Bob Marley has sing this tune now. All right, so you have to listen to it carefully.
All right.
You love me,
and
black supremacy,
what I would
black
hope,
progress.
Hearing this, what I would hope is that any white person who has a love of Rasta or an affinity for Rasta will not take that as a rejection. That's not a rejection. Taking that as a rejection as a white person is individualizing. If there's an affinity to Rasta or a love for Rasta, I know white people that are white Rasta. I know that's debatable of whether that should be, how that should be, and I
but yeah, white Rasta, I try to tell me about Rasta, what my philosophy about Rasta and Rasta.
Okay.
Italian at that.
Okay. Okay, so this is something that does need to be discussed, and I'm surprised this isn't a bigger topic right now, or maybe it is and I just don't know. But on the role of white people within Rasta and supporters of or so-called allies to that, that's the issue that needs to be addressed. Because if I can hear about Rasta in the U.S. and never know that it's a movement against white supremacy, something's off. All right? Now, when I'm at white, this is what I was trying to say before. I'm going to this white privilege conference and never hearing the voice of Rastafari, never hearing the voice of the one active movement on the planet that with the purpose of addressing it. And when I do hear Rasta, it's more through music, and maybe it can be a one love without understanding that one love is justice that brings that love, right? It's justice is the gateway. Or I just read, there's a sign up in the town where I live where it says justice is love in action, or what justice is what love looks like in public. I think that's what it says. But so if you have Rastafari without that focus on the restoration of Africa, and without that focus on the uprising of a movement that is supposed to restore Africa and people of African descent, if that's watered down, then you really lose a treasure, right? And you really lose a potent force that needs to be understood and needs to be promoted on the planet right now. And so for any white person who has this affinity, it's very important that we take a step back and not take it personally when we hear something that sounds anti-white, but to understand, to understand that is something that we want to be fighting for. We want to be fighting for liberation. We gotta understand that no matter where you are in the world, the darker the skin you are, the lower you are on the social rung, everywhere on the planet right now, that has to be addressed. So a sincere-hearted white person who wants to see a change has to come out of our defensiveness and really look at what would it and from a humble standpoint too. So it means that we're going to have to really listen and really be willing to work with the ego where we get offended, where we get triggered. I was talking about before, that emotional space, and really work with where we get offended and be open to the breaking down of that system, because it's holding us in bondage too, even though we don't know it.
Well, everybody's in bondage. So if one man is free and the other is not free, no man can truly say that him is free.
Exactly.
Because the freedom of one is dependent on the freedom of all. That's one of the poem them.
Yeah.
So when you really check it, white people, I listen to you. It's not me I say it, no. It's a white woman I say it to white people that it's not an offense when you hear Rasta say black, or even black progress, or even black supremacy. Black supremacy is not an opposition to white supremacy. You know, it's just a character, supreme black consciousness. It's just so it goes.
I don't even, for me, it's not even, I don't have to get into the, well, is it just holding one above the other? What it is for me, black supremacy is a restoration of something that's been lost.
Of course.
Of something precious on the planet that needs to be restored. And it's the undoing of a set of lies that's been told. Okay, with African history being erased, with people being made to feel that they have no history, right? Something's got to be changed. Something's got to be shifted. Something's got to be undone. And we need study and we need groups. And I really would love to see that Rastafari as a movement is known globally for that, is known globally for justice, and that is understood that justice for Africa means justice for all people. That holding a focus on Africa does not, it will benefit all people if that vision is fulfilled and if that focus is held.
Let's not say, when Africa righteous people come together, the whole earth will come together. That's why let's not say. But for the next level of this thing, we talk about the Jews and the Russians, Germans, you know, these people from the Caucasus, you know, these Russians, where did they pick up the Jewish tradition from? Where them get it from?
You know, whether it's a conversion from the Khazars or whether there was really a dispersal out of an ancient land, I don't know.
Some people say they move into the Caucasus from Israel, and some people say them get converted to the tradition. I don't really know.
Well, I
don't have no views about it still, but I just say that when you really check it, the Jewish, the Torah is translated by Christians, by Islam, and them give credence to this mythology to the point where they will kill far as that mythology. It's weird that Christians, Jews...
Well, the psychology around religion is pretty intense. So people want something to cling to, and when they believe in something and your identity is tied up in something, it becomes your survival, right? Yeah. And yeah, well, that could be a whole nother show. It's getting into the psychology of religion. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, man. Blessed man.
Yeah, Wagwan Muta, give thanks.
Coaching age.
Yeah, I want to tell you, so, I just want to tell you, from your youth, in my teenage, I don't call back the program, but you don't know where I always tune in every day.
Yeah, so make you call now from your youth, you don't call back the program.
No, guess what, one? Say, your program are really, really touching for you with the Empress and some insight, and you're waking away, rest around, you go out with them, sister, we have to rise and make sure we do what we have to do, you see it? Yeah, when it come a woman like that, I tell you, so for wake, it become a way, you see it? Yeah. But there's a strength, and, we just ask you to bless the daughter still and make sure carry on, because we need her to,
All right, sir. Give time.
Yeah, man, we need a little bit in a Jamaica to make sure talk to some of them youth, have some social forum and make way over the whole levels, because the youth, them gone, man.
Yeah, all right.
But in the meantime, them can't come back still, you see it?
Yeah. Traumatized. We're traumatized, man.
Yeah, man, but after all of that, we have to get up out of that because we have to gain consciousness, you see it? Enough people traumatized and gain consciousness and then get traumatized again, you see it?
All right, sir.
Yo, man.
Yeah, man.
I bring you share the love still, man, and more life and strength.
Yeah,
Dada?
Blessed.
Every time.
Give me some rhythm, let me dance. A long, long time, the feels so nice. Now I'm feeling good. And I am in a dancing mood. A place to come and rock with me. I'm feeling so happy, 'cause just like I said, it's gone straight to my head.
Yes.
Black-hearted greetings, I Congo.
Blessed man.
Rastafari.
Aye.
Majesty. Two things.
The dog them want to talk on the phone, man.
Beg pardon?
The dog them want to talk on the phone.
It's a serious thing. And you see how we call one another dog? Concerning the herb, we notice in this month of the Child's Month, we notice that on different programs, when they're speaking about abuse of children, mention is made, say, they smoke up the herb and they rape. We heard it on different stations, including...
So them smoke up herb and them rape?
Yeah, we hear professional people who are, who are being, who
the youth them, what are the youth them? A big man them are rape the little girl picking them.
Of course.
And some big boat stone man are rape them.
They're not talking about rum drinking. They specifically make mention. I hear it more than once. Specifically make mention about them smoking the herb, and then they go rape, and then they go this, and then they go that.
In the United States, they made a big deal out of reefer madness. The government putting out this big propaganda that marijuana is going to make people violent, that marijuana is going to cause the crime. It actually, in studies here
in
and
Colorado.
there, yes.
Colorado, crime decreases since the herbs get legal.
But of course, we know that. We know the goodness of the herb, and it's unfortunate that, people who in certain positions, we mostly hear from people who say they're representing that, they're in this group, anti-child abuse, and, it's terrible. They should stop it, and people who are on radio stations who invite these people in to represent whatever organization they represent, they should stop these people from doing these things, Really. The other thing quickly, because we're sure there's other people who want to fit in. We want to thank the sister for being so bold, for being so bold and doing the right thing,
Thank you.
Yes, and best wishes.
Yeah, blessed man.
So yes, I'll Congo, Black-Eyed Supremacy.
Yeah, man, I did. Yes.
Buddha.
Yeah, blessed. Morning.
Respect, man.
Alright.
Yeah, man. I need you to take position because right now I believe it's because of you.
Come again, I don't hear you.
Right now I am living and I believe it is because of you.
And me make you live?
Yeah, because of the stand and certain levity that you preaching in the early days. Yeah, in the sense that probably sugar would have killed me already, and I'd get to change my lifestyle and living healthy, get my children as African name and African consciousness because of what you used to teach in the early days. So,
well, give thanks to you, that brethren. Give thanks.
Yeah, and I believe that you and some other men who have this African consciousness should do a more national, having some seminars.
But you know, a 4 hours with a seminar you just get a while ago, you know. Every Wednesday you get 4 hours, every Thursday you get 4 hours. I don't know how much seminar that could have been. Because when you said seminar now, we are talking to people in 150 different countries right now.
Yeah, but you see,
I don't know how much more seminar you want me to.
You see, because you're saying that the youths in Jamaica last year, you know, the churches are doing more public speaking and further misleading the youths, and the voice of Rasta is getting less.
Yeah, but when I say no, you listen to this program and you're picking them of African name, you start eat proper, that means the seminar work. the continent seminar work. Well, it can work more till all you have to do now is you become the continent. See there, that we are saying no, multiply the thing.
I'm working somewhere, yeah. And you see, today now, I'm not going here, you know.
Why? Because you have to work.
Because the radio that is played will be a love.
But the day I was in 2 o'clock.
To the bars, I say, boy, a certain time if I'm too more here, you know, allow you to play.
Where you want to play?
I tell you what now. Them have the most devious. Yeah? The
well, what if it's plug in your radio, the way not just use your phone and plug it in your ears?
No, it's my phone. I'm not no thing. So besides, buy a.
No, I have to buy a cheap phone, man. Buy one of the cheap phones.
Yeah, buy a cheap phone, I know.
And the cheap phone, them have on the radio, you know.
Yeah, that realize. So
the big Galaxy one, them. You have to go program and get apps and all these rotted things, and that don't work.
Well, the need for seminars and workshops and spaces where people can come together and all talk and really look at the white supremacy and what it takes to break it down, that's real, that's needed.
Yeah.
So what you're doing on the radio is revolutionary. It's absolutely treasure in the world. There do need to be spaces where people come together on a consistent basis and really keep breaking these things down and really keep looking at where does white supremacy raise its head on a continual daily basis.
All right, the Virgin get like half himself. Him credit must have done. I'm credit God, you know. I'm credit God, believe you me. Sorry about that, Virgin. You know, so now you call cutting it, you have to have all $500 or $1,000 credit on your phone. Yeah, so we're going to seal up, you know, so the first reasoning, so make sure you hear the first reasoning now, not the last reasoning, the first reasoning.
Well, I wanted to say you had someone on here right before me, Jason Beck. All right, I know Jason, long time from California. He is one of the purest people in that field, and the reason I care for Jason Beck is because he does have the experience as a patient, as a caregiver, and he's spent the last 15 years really devoting himself to making the medicine available.
Yeah.
And with decriminalization here, it's a very good thing.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, EL, cutting edge. EL.
Motor.
Yes.
Hot.
Red.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, I listen, man.
Blessed. Yeah, man, like the program, man.
I give thanks, Brethren.
For real, man, because it's a gospel upon the nation, man. Holy gospel, man.
Yeah.
I love where that all the spell, man.
Okay.
Thank you.
God.
All right, blessed, yeah?
Give thanks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's this one. Yeah, that's it.
I was saying that right now, all nonviolent drug offenders should be released immediately. Okay, with the decriminalization, in the United States, 70% of crimes are committed by whites, yet you go into any prison, you see they're full of black and brown people. The injustice system has to be addressed. Decriminalization is one step. One small but very important step. Now, people need to unify and come together and really stand up for their rights where this is concerned and make sure that white supremacy is consistently rooted out as this process goes on, so that as you see medical marijuana, recreational marijuana, as you see the growing done, that it's a tool to bring people together and learn to have an economic basis. Take the words of His Imperial Majesty Haile Selassie, organize and centralize. This is the time.
You have been listening to two very important subjects right just now. Where, for those of you who missed the first part of the program, we was interviewing a brethren from California who run a dispensary, GANJA dispensary. Jason is in Jamaica to say how him can give him expertise towards this new project that is taking hold of Jamaica now, and it's a GANJA project. And we also talk to Swan, a physiotherapist or psychotherapist. It's a physiotherapist. I want some physio something for me, I know, believe you me. Anyway, it's a psychotherapist who spend our life and our time trying to unravel white supremacy. White supremacy. The thing about it is that she is a white woman, Jewish at that, but she is very open towards the information that she presents when it comes on to the dismantling of white supremacy. Well, you know, say a little more families from 2 to 5:45 will be here with the stepping razor, the art of war. And Neil over there with you, Brian. Oh, you run well left me last week, brethren. But the man say, yeah, like you're proud of it. The man say, like you're proud of it. Say, yeah, I run a little bit more. All right, so Neil will be here with me tomorrow. Well, a little more from this. So give thanks to the moment. Give thanks to the time. You know what I mean? There. So, we did say first word a while ago, you know, but we could give the lady another first word here. Yeah, you have so much things to build out that it...
You know, I just want to take a moment.
Hold on. How it feel for be the cutting edge rather than listening to the cutting edge? Because you know, say, for years you listen to the cutting edge. For be the cutting edge rather than listening to the cutting edge. Because you know, say, for years you listen to the cutting edge, but no, you are the cutting edge. How it feel?
Beautiful. Mutsa Baruka, I just give thanks that you exist. I also want to take a second just to give thanks and deep respect to Empress Esther.
Okay.
As a woman of great virtue, of great wisdom, of great heart, I just wish that spirit to multiply. And from my heart, I give thanks to Empress Esther, to those on Bobo Hill, to the Nyabingi who are holding the liberty. I give deep thanks to the spirit of Mama Aita and Haya and Junior Manon, those who have touched my heart deeply.
Well, give thanks. Give thanks for being so open on the program. You know, as we say, it's a long time we want to make it talk. And
I want to give one more thanks.
Yeah.
This may seem obvious, but I want to give thanks to one of the greatest teachers in this field of undoing white supremacy. I give thanks every moment to Abba Zero.
Okay.
Abba Zero is one who holds this. He, of all the people I've ever met in this life, he holds this, he holds his eye on that prize at all times, and everything that he does is in service of that bigger picture. Many people don't understand or don't know that is always his first and foremost goal in this life.
I'm a brethren too, believe
yes.
you me. Okay.
Yes, Muta.
From last week, we're supposed to say this, Sister Carol, me thirsty, you know. Sister Carol, I am very thirsty. All right. I know, say, Sister Carol and her husband pass me and don't stop, you know. I don't like that, you know. I don't reach up her yard yet, you know. I'm supposed to reach up there, you know, believe you me, but, you know, my regular little thirst quench are supposed to reach me. I hope that she's listening. Her husband is hearing me from the St. Mary Bush there. Sister Carol, I am very thirsty. Trust me. Yeah, some Matrix is in the house. Man, Matrix. You know, some Matrix are the original Arab looking, ISIS looking, terrorist looking. May I tell you, every time you see me with the knapsack up on him back, you know, I start get bummy, you know. Because I don't know if him get influence. Looking at him back and see if him have a Quran in there, you know, because we don't trust Quran, why I can't get it. It's all them wicked. Hey, this system terrible, you know, because you know, they've got the bridge with the house, you know. You know, the little youth to them say, he was on him way to Syria. Them stop him at Suriname. Them go him house and say a Quran, you know, and convince the seat there. Him have Quran in yard, that me say, watch out. The most of Quran when me have in my yard to write, it's supposed to be Lysis, Kysis, Mysis, Isis, Tysis, 13.